that I do, that I pursue, because gaming can just be a lot at times. There's just too many guys, man. Like, there needs to be more girls in gaming, and I think there needs to be more girls and all that. But like, it's not like that. Like, I feel like it's mainly guys. So when I'm able to go to dance class, it's like a little nice break from all the men. You know? And I know it sounds a little harsh, but I feel like it's pretty real. Like, I feel like girls don't thrive. It's harder to thrive in environments that are male dominated when you're a woman. So sometimes it's nice to have a little break, you know? So like a little pivot moment. A little pivot moment, you know? Pivoting is really good and healthy. Pivoting can. It just. She hates men? Okay. Like, blocked. Little pivoting moment. Yeah, like dancing compared to gaming for me is like therapeutic, and it doesn't have that like toxic aspect where like people are hating on you if you play bad or you do bad. It's quite the opposite. It's, in fact, if you are doing bad, it's okay because like we're all there to learn, and like most gaming spaces aren't like that. I feel like if you're bad, people are just already trying to put you down before you even got up. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't like about the gaming space. But yeah, dance on the other hand, like the first thing they said when we came into the room was, and there's some like safe spaces in gaming, but it's just you know who you surround yourself with, I feel like. But yeah, it's so much of a healthier environment, guys. Like it is so much. So much. Hold on, let me fix the drops. Ignore this. The drops command is broken. But yeah, it's like, oh, I forgot I have fries. Oh my god. Snap. But I do enjoy gaming. I think that gaming is, but I've noticed like gaming with friends is honestly more fun than like doing it by yourself. Like Miller or so, we're having a vibe. Me and her have to go take a heels dance class or something. Like, I ate my. Oh my god! Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the rosy gift, Amer. Thank you, thank you. I was gonna say, yeah, but I mean, gaming is good, but I feel like I'm like trying to discover different things about what I like and stuff. And I'm Asian. I'm trying to discover like what I like what truly makes me passionate and happy. Guys, this Overwatch is taking so long. Hold on, maybe I'll do let's do quick plays first. Maybe I have to just choose all roles, but I want to play damage. Ugh, this coffee that my dad got is so gross. Should we play Fortnite instead? No, I will not be showing my hair length on stream. I'm good. Let's try to keep the chat gaming focused chat, unless we're like on a different topic. Then we can talk about it, but we can talk about things, but just try not to get too overly personal or ask weird questions like that. But yeah,
Now arriving at Ilios.
yay, I finally get to play. Let me change my I was thinking about recording that, like the dance that we learned today. I was thinking about recording it and then posting it for a TikTok soon.
This together.
But I want to pick like a cute outfit for it, so we'll see.
Make sure you're ready. Who knows what we'll find.
We'll see. Should we play more Subnautica, guys?
Work together and we'll make it through.
I always hit up my friend Muncher. I hit him up and I'd say, Overwatch? And then and then he's like, brother, I'm working. Always work, man. No one's about that hustle and that grind. It's too loud, hold on. For the sub. I need to aim train, I'm so bad. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. But yeah, my back hurts. Yo, Vado, thank you for the super chat. Question mark. What? Thank you for the heart. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
Speed it up, everyone.
Nice.
This is our objective now.
Hello, everyone. Okay, lock in, everybody. Yo, Sager! Thank you for the 20 jewels. I actually just got back from dance class, Tango. That's why it seems like I've been streaming all day, but actually, I just left and came back. Oh, you got me. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome in.
No sweat. Just need a new plan.
Oops. Oopsie, what the hell? I don't know what's wrong with my left ult, but I think I swapped it
A
between...
solid upgrade.
I don't know what happened to my mouse. Oh, there we go. Okay. We got it.
Tango over here.
But yeah, I've been like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I love, like, FPS competitive, but, like, I don't know, I've been finding, like, it's so, especially when you want to do, like, male-dominated spaces and stuff, it's really important to take care of yourself and to play games that, you know, or do, like, have hobbies that you have where you can have balance in your life, you know, to do other things and, you know, give other things a try, because you never know when something you're gonna do, like a hobby, you go to a class and then it sticks with you for the rest of your life. I think that that's what I learned from my dance class, is that, like, it is a space that I love being a part of because it's such an inclusive space. There's just a lot of women, particularly. And it just feels like, for me, overall, like, I've just been wanting to connect more with, like, women and, like, you know? Like, as much as I really appreciate my, you know, the men that choose to support me and, you know, do streaming and gaming and whatnot, you know, and make an inclusive space, like, I don't know, there's just something else about a more inclusive environment, you know? Especially, like, I feel like music, especially with, like, girls, it's known to be more, like, yeah, just literally inclusive. Like, you know, the music, the, you know, like, who you're around, you know? It's not about, like, how old you are, it's not about how, you know, where you're from or things like that, or it's not about, like, it's just an inclusive, yeah, like, it's just such a nice environment where I just feel like I belong better. And I feel like in gaming, like, I mean, I've definitely made my own community and in my own, like, environment in a way. But it's always felt like it's like had a lot of, there's, like, always been resistance in feeling like I'm actually belonging, you know? Especially when a lot of people have fake and are, like, it's just very artificial intentions, things like that. I mean, every space comes with that as well, even the space that I'm talking about. Like, I'm sure if you were more famous or you had connections, like, people will gravitate towards you more. Like, that's just how certain spaces are. That's why, like, it's important to be in an environment where you feel safe and you feel like you belong. Oh my god, it's doing it again.
You should rethink your strategy.
I don't know what's wrong with my alt button, but it switched. The mouse button. Well, I do love, like, the competitive aspect of. You can't enter male spaces and ask them to change it if you're sensitive. Imagine not feeling safe while sitting at home playing games. It's not about, like, not feeling safe as in, like, my safety as in, like, physical safety. Even though, like, it's very possible to get stalkers as a streamer, and even I know streamers that are males that get male stalkers. So it is very possible to be physically in danger as a streamer, so it isn't a safe place sitting at home and playing video games if you're a streamer. Because unfortunately, when you put yourself out there into the world, you are exposed to a lot of negativity and you are exposed to a lot of bad people. And especially in the gaming space, it is known to be one of those spaces that is a breeding ground of toxicity. That I don't claim and that I don't associate with. And I don't claim people like that because I don't think it's cute or quirky to think it's funny to say hate crimes towards others or to make women feel unincluded in the games, even if it's even if it is emotionally and not physically. No, I wasn't talking about mean words, but I'm talking about that too, because mean words are just the beginning to toxic behavior. You realize that, right? You think that abusers start by hitting people? No, they start by words. They start by tearing down your nervous system, making your nervous system feel dysregulated by emotional abuse, and then it gets to physical. That's how it starts. So that's why gaming in the space is it can sometimes be a really toxic environment. But if you're around the right people, and if you yourself are a good example in the gaming space, then this stuff it doesn't apply, because if you're just a positive impact on others, then eventually you're gonna find your people, right? But like I said, because it's so normalized to be toxic in the gaming space, it's become normalized to behave that way. It's a game chat, you can mute. It doesn't matter if you can mute. That doesn't change the fact that people are saying verbal abuse. And verbal abuse is the beginning to physical abuse. It doesn't change the fact that just because it's through a game. It's called, maybe be nicer in your communities and stop calling people soft. If you want women to be feeling more included in the space.
Okay? Stay safe.
But maybe that's something you can't comprehend, because you yourself identify with abusive people and abusive behavior. Like I said, it's very common in the gaming space, so we're not going to tolerate that, and we'll block people accordingly.
4, 3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the
I
objective.
shouldn't have to sit here and educate a grown-ass man.
Hey!
Grown-ass man, by the way. But yeah, you know what I mean? But I think that not a lot of people are ready for that next step in making gaming more of an inclusive space. Because for them, gaming is literally just like a side thing. You know what I mean? Like, it is just a thing where they go on and they're angry at the world, and they express their anger towards others. It's just how it is sometimes. Especially if they're a very miserable, hurt human being. They're more likely to just be like a really toxic example on others. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's all. It's all it's really about. At the end of the day, like, for me, gaming has always just been like a fun little hobby. But you know, I also enjoy the aspect of like getting good at video games as well, because I think it's just cool. Like, you got hella aura and shit, you know? But you can do that. You can achieve that without being toxic, and you'll be surprised. When you meet like high-level ELO players, they're actually like really intelligent, and the way that they talk, you could tell that like they're just really intelligent people. And it's funny because you think that a lot of the pro players are toxic, which yeah, they definitely can be. But when I've met like radiant players that are like the top of the top, they're always some of the most like well-articulated people that they don't believe in like raging, and they also don't believe in tilting either, because if they were to tilt like some of you motherfuckers in gaming and rage out and say a slur, they'll literally lose their job. You know what I mean? And they don't normally do that. Especially the ones who are intelligent, like intelligent as in they know exactly what they're doing. Those are the gamers that I feel like those are people we should look up to, the ones who don't rage. Do you think the bar for toxic is the same for guys and girls? I think it's worse for women because obviously we deal with misogyny on a daily basis. But I would say the only men that deal with the same amount of discrimination as women is probably black men or African American men. Those are probably the only men that I think deal with the same harassment that we do because of racism, right? Whereas like straight or anybody who's like of usually ethnic people, I feel like on American servers and stuff, they deal with the most discrimination because they have something about them that's different, right? And Americans, unfortunately, a good chunk of them are unintelligent, right? So or they're just not educated on racism, and so they're just racist to each other. That's kind of sad. I would say it's worse for women though, and I feel like if you don't agree with that, well then that's, I don't know, like you've clearly like never been playing with a girl like long term to see like the type of harassment that she gets from both women and men. You know, but it's not to like say that men don't deal with it too. They definitely do deal with toxic shit talk. But I feel like it's definitely different because yeah, toxic gamers don't get high elos because being toxic to your teammates doesn't really help them play better. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like if you, at least from my, like from what I've seen, like from really like intelligent gamers, you can tell like they're just thinking about the strategy on what they're gonna do to be a better player. They're not thinking about what. They're not thinking about, you know what I mean? Ooh, my back hurts. They're not thinking about like being like an asshole, but some of them, if they're around the wrong groups of people in the gaming space, they will eventually, some of them will snap. And because, like I said, it's extremely normalized. But that's exactly like what the enemy team wants you to do. Like when you are gaming in a competitive setting, the enemy team literally wants you to be like yelling at your own team and like saying slurs to each other. Like that's literally what they want you to do, so that way you can lose and be like more distracted.
This ends now.
I can't even hit them. Oh my god. Whatever. But yeah. But it's not to say that like women in gaming can't be a part of it. I feel like you just definitely have to learn how to like not
Play of the game.
internalize like the way that people treat you, because it's not even a reflection of you. It doesn't define you. It's just it's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Like if they're insecure or they like hate women already, they're gonna make it pretty clear in the way that they treat you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you just like do you and just be yourself, like, and just try to just focus on what you can do to be like a better gamer and create a better, safer space, that's all that you can really do. You know what I mean? Hello, Cam. Did you try to put a link in the chat? There's no links allowed in chat. Gynocentric describes a perspective, theory, or practice that places women or the female point of view at the center, prioritizing their needs, experiences, interests. I don't get how that would be gynocentric, because you can tell if you've been around women for a long time that it's not just about centering women's needs. It's about everybody's needs, because men are also affected by women being in gaming. You know what I mean? Men who stand up for women who deal with discrimination in gaming also deal with the shit end of the stick when they stand up for women. They get called an SIMP, they get called a white knight and things like that. So if you think it's only about women, that's actually not true. It's about everybody in the gaming space. It's just about making everybody feel included. Just like black men, right? If you have a friend that's black and he deals with racism all the time and you stand up for him, you might also deal with racism. So it's not about gender in this sense. Well, it is about gender, but it isn't. You know what I mean? If you just spend enough time around women,
Choose your mouth.
and in gaming in particular, multiple different women, and you're just friends with them, and you guys are playing together, and she so happens to, you know, be competitive, right? You know, she's trying to get better with you, and she decides to talk in the mic. Pay really close attention to the way that people treat her. If they're putting her down already within the first few moments that 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 she's speaking, then you already have a situation where she is being put in an inferior place, where she is mentally, if she's not already equipped with a strong mental, it can really ruin somebody's perspective on the game. It can ruin their thinking, and it can, really mess in their head. It's just like if your friend that's black is dealing with racism, you're not going to just sit there and let it happen. You're going to stand up for them, and you're going to be like, hey, don't be racist towards my friend. That's stupid, you know? And we can see that in the Valorant space. Like, this one guy got banned from a tournament, or he got his whole career, like, put on a pause or whatever it is, because he said a racial slur.
Select your hero.
And a lot of people are defending him and saying he shouldn't have lost his career over this one mistake. When it's like, for generations and generations, we've been fighting for people of color to not deal with less opportunities, to deal with, more inclusive spaces. And instead of these people holding this kid accountable and being like, oh, maybe if he shouldn't have said this slur if he wanted to keep his career.
Find the key.
They're defending this guy. Because they have a lack of empathy. They don't see how even this slur, as simple or as harmless as it seems, it's not as harmless as people make it out to be. It's not just words. It's the beginning of a hate crime. Hate speech is the beginning of hate crime. It just happens at that's what starts it, right? So when you start saying racial slurs or whatever, you're more likely to go off into the world and do something to hurt people of color. Whether it's by putting them in a position where they don't get as much opportunities, or whether it's going out and, putting a school in danger. That's predominantly not white people, you know what I mean? So it's usually like, and here's another great example. So for example, it's like, a serial killer doesn't just start out as a serial killer, okay? This is an analogy of it. A serial killer starts by abusing animals, and that's a good telltale sign of a person who is capable of murder, is someone who starts out by murdering animals. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer, for example. And so in this analogy, we can learn that, yeah, maybe to you a slur is just a harmless thing that doesn't hurt somebody, but in reality, you're creating a breeding ground of hate speech that later on turns into one of those people that you're saying slurs around is going to be like, we don't like them anyways, and they're going to go commit a crime, remembering that time where you created a space that was safe for you to say that slur. These crimes don't start based off of people just being crazy. It starts off by them normalizing this discrimination towards minority groups that are not stood up for enough. That's how it starts. You're saying slurs? I was just talking about. She's racist? No, I was just talking about slurs and talking about how. Are we not listening? Discrimination and racism will always be a thing forever until the end of time. No, it won't be something that's here forever until the day of time if we actively educate each other and educate ourselves. And educate ourselves on what normalism is and how normalism is what causes these crimes to happen. You think that women just get raped on a random Sunday because someone's cuckoo beans in their head? No. It's because, what's crazy about these criminals is they are regular people. They start out in spaces where you guys are hating and hateful towards women, and that's what later on leads to women being raped and murdered. It's just the reality. And every man, did you know that every straight man benefits from men being violent towards women? Yeah. And so instead of trying to say that women don't have it hard in the gaming space, maybe you should educate yourself, because that's obviously not the truth. And if you speak to any woman in the gaming space, they might not want to talk about it, but it's the truth. A lot of women are discriminated against, no matter how good they are, no matter how bad they are, whatever it is. think you can beat racism? I think that if we all came together and we started educating people and they actually listened, maybe we could help people learn how to be more educated. But obviously, because no one is especially it's because if it doesn't directly affect them, a lot of these people won't do anything about it. It's called having a lack of empathy. But that's exactly what's causing the loneliness male epidemic. A lack of empathy. Because if you think you can be in a relationship with a woman without having empathy and learning how to build empathy for others, why do men benefit from that? Because they set the bar very low for the expectations that we need to have towards men. When we still have murderers walking around the world, when we still have sexual predators walking around the world, every single straight man benefits from this. Why? Because it sets the bar extremely low. Because you guys are held at a completely different standard than women are. If you were to do something like that, you could still get married and have kids and live a normal life. You see what I'm saying? Women the opposite. Because we just don't have the same life. We live in a patriarchy, right? Like if we lived in a matriarchy, then of course, you know, everything would be catered towards women. But it's not like that. And some men think it's catered towards women because women are deciding to have higher standards now and they're choosing themselves now. But that's more about like personal choice. I am a feminist smelling guy. But I think men's perspective on feminism is completely skewed because of the idea that feminism means that we hate men, when the reality isn't we hate men. My reality of feminism is I'm a feminist because I just want to create a safe space for women to thrive and have equal opportunities towards men. Yes, I want the world more catered to women. Because if I were a man and it was a matriarchy that we were living in, where a woman ran the world and every woman was in a powerful position and men weren't, I would also fight for men because I would be able to have the empathy to talk to them and see what it is that they're dealing with. That's putting them at a disadvantage in the world. Stop asking me to show my hair length. Anyway, I'm gonna block this guy because he's just arguing with me because his idea of feminism is completely different than mine. They just think extremist. My thoughts are not extremist. My thoughts are, all I want is for women to be represented in spaces that they're not. And that's exactly why I'm a streamer, because I'm in a space that is not as representative for women as it should be. And I'm very successful in it too. You know what I mean? One of my close friends killed his sister's pet rat out of anger towards her, and later on, older age, he killed local birds with a pellet gun. A lot more years later, after he had kids, a wife, he invited me to his house party. And we got into a physical fight. He almost put me in a hospital. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's why I listen to a lot of true crime, because true crime is undeniable proof as to what women are dealing with. And not just women, but men are dealing with too. You know what I mean? So, undeniable proof of like hate crimes being committed. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people act like it's not about their gender and stuff like that when it's not about their gender or like whatever. It is about, sorry, I meant to say. It is about their gender sometimes, especially when it's like a woman in a, like most women when they're in a relationship, they're more likely to die, you know, not by a random stranger on the street, not by a random guy actually. In fact, they're more likely to die by a guy close to them that knows them. Is that not insane? And intimate partner violence, domestic violence, is more likely to be committed towards the woman than the man. But it's still possible towards men too. No? But yeah, intimate partner violence is very real. and very common. And that's what I mean by, like, it's not just some random guy you're meeting on the street that's cuckoo in the head, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, can't think straight or whatever. It's regular people. Like, and I think that's something people don't want to understand because they don't want to think in their brains that they're ever capable of doing something like that. But the more you try to act like these criminals are monsters, they're not. They're actually human beings. That the reason they get to that point is because their actions in their head have been so justified years and years to come, and that's why they do the things that they do. If they knew what they were doing was wrong, based off of the community that they're in, like if more men were to stand up and be like, you beat your wife, what the fuck is wrong with you? And completely cut him off from their group of friendships and group whatever, or you cheated on your girlfriend, cut him the fuck off. They don't, because they don't care what happens to women. They never do, unless they're not hateful towards women. If they actually, and the thing that's crazy too is like, you'll see women who have men that are clearly capable of being empathetic, and it'll put low effort men that don't believe in empathy in a fucking coma, because there are men like that exist into the world. And it shocks me because I think sometimes I don't think they have empathy, but some of them are very clearly capable of empathy. They just aren't taught it, or like they're not in a circle where it's normalized to be empathetic. Instead, it's the opposite, right? And so what does a lack of empathy do? It creates psychopaths that are in groups of psychopaths and narcissists that think it's okay to beat their wives. I mean, look at all the men who listen to Chris Brown. Like, there's times I've listened to Chris Brown, but it's because, like, it was a dance class or things like that. But even I, like, feel sick to my stomach when I'm listening to a song. Even if both partners were, like, equally abusive in the relationship, because I don't think anyone is, like, there's never a perfect victim. But the thing is, Turp, it's not a victim Olympics. There's room for everybody to be considered. You know what I mean? It's not about who is the better victim here. But you can't act like nothing is wrong with a guy for beating a woman. Like, he is clearly... We learn this in biology. We learn that men are biologically put at an advantage. You know what I mean? Knowing that you have that strength, it's like doing Taekwondo, and whenever they teach you in Taekwondo, they teach you in the beginning that you swear on an oath to never use your skills in Taekwondo for harm. You swear to only use it out of self-defense. Because when you learn Taekwondo, it's not about using your power for evil, it's about using your power for good and for self-defense. That's what it's about. Now, let's say the guy was doing it out of self-defense. That's the only time that I would consider that it's fine. But even then, I still, like, if I were a man and I knew that I was strong enough to, like, push a woman away from, like, touching me or anything, or provoking me, I wouldn't get to that point. I would just push her away, and I would leave the situation, you know? That's what I would do. But at the same time, like, when you're in that situation, obviously it's different for everyone, so you don't know exactly what's gonna happen. But I think that it's good to have a level of self-control, because you should know your capability, like, you should know how strong you are. Especially with what we learned in biology. I mean, we learned this stuff, you know? If a woman is clearly, you know, more strong than you, okay, then I guess that's different, right? But, like, it's like using your power for evil, in my opinion. Especially, like, the whole mentality of, like, but she provoked him, but it's like, you can't, it's valid to feel angry when a person provokes you emotionally. And I don't agree with, like, emotional abuse either, you know? Emotional abuse is not healthy. But it should never push you to the point. You should have self-control to the point where you know, okay, well, I'm stronger than her, so I'm not going to do anything physically to her. You know what I mean? That's all. I don't think I would never hurt anybody or like put my hands on them because I think that it's stupid and I think it goes both ways, of course. But you can't act like men don't have like an advantage physically, you know? Not saying a woman can't, but I mean, it's clear that, like, you know. But it's not to take away from men's experiences or what happens to little boys. But the craziest part about, like, murder and homicide and things like SA, when it does happen to men, you know, the main perpetrator is still men, right? So it's pointing to a bigger issue of it's not impossible that women are also the predators in this situation. I'm not saying that women are capable of a lot of evil things. If a man is capable of it, so is a woman. And there's a lot of stigmas, right? Like, oh, a woman can't hurt you, right? Things like that. But it is true. Women can do some damage, things like that. But I'm just pointing out that the reason why it's more likely to be a man is because men are more in powerful positions. Whereas like if things were equal all around, you would start seeing perpetrators from both genders. But the reason why it's mainly men right now, I mean, think of Jeffrey Dahmer. All of his victims were young, sometimes underage boys. You know what I mean? So this points to a bigger issue of like, where did we go wrong? Like, where did we go wrong in our system? Where did their parenting go wrong? Because, like, when did it get to this point where he thought it was okay to do these things? If he was a normal functioning adult and he realized, oh my god, I'm starting to think really bad thoughts about the XYZ, and I know this stuff is illegal, I know this is bad, I should self-report myself. But these people are like, you know, it's not that they're evil, it's that these people are in positions of power. Like, he was a white man, cops would come to his door, and people wouldn't bat a freaking eye because he was white. And a lot of people don't want to point out that his race plays a big role as to why he got away with the things that he did. Because it's like, I don't know, but it is a big thing. Like, he got away with a lot, and there was police right there too, like in the documentary. Showcase how the police was literally there, and his neighbor was clocking that, but they didn't believe her because she was a girl and she was black, you know? And so when she found out, it was like a big wake-up call for a lot of people, you know? Like, but I think it's really important that we understand that, like, the whole point of what I'm saying and the whole point of feminism isn't to divide the genders. It's actually more so to bring more women up into power. Feminism is the reason why I am able to have the platform that I have today. The reason I'm able to open my own bank account. The reason I'm able to pump my own gas, have my own credit, be able to have my own apartment in my own name, have my own car in my own name. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. And not have to co-sign with a man. Like, I'm allowed freedom. And that's because of feminism. But it's not about dividing the genders. It's about bringing more women up into power and giving them opportunities to succeed. Do you get what I mean? To be able to have these conversations with you and be competent enough, you know, to get it across without attacking your guys' gender. Because it's not about attacking genders here. And obviously, I clearly have a bias because I'm a woman, you know, and I've dealt with a lot of bad things at the hands of men. So I do identify that I have my own personal bias. But I will say, that doesn't take away from the fact that I am making some good points here, you know, in terms of feminism. It's more about a peaceful protest for me than it is about violence or creating separation or segregation. It's more about peaceful protest and bringing justice to future women, because even though we have come really far as a society to give women bank accounts, to give them the ability to vote, to give them, you know, be able to open bank account, have a credit, whatever it is, all that, have a phone, have a cell phone, things like that, have a car in our own name, all of that stuff, you know? But just because we already have a lot doesn't mean there isn't more for women to achieve in the future, like becoming the president of the United States or becoming, a big political leader that takes a lot of, positions of power. But because there's a lot of discrimination made towards women that still exists today, we're kind of far off and we have a lot of work to do still. Like, I firmly believe that if we start making stricter rules on sexual harassment and sexual assault and things like that, and people are punished more severely, I feel as though we will live in a society where women can grow up, where the statistic is no longer 1 in 3 women who are dealing with sexual assault or sexual violence at the hands of, predators, right? Maybe that statistic won't be as small as 1 in 3. Maybe it'll start becoming 1 in 100, is what I'm trying to say. And that's what I'm trying to fight for, basically. That's what I believe. That's my morals and my values. But because, like I said, a lot of men benefit from this idea of not giving women power, they will have this internalized misogyny and let it flow throughout life freely. But I mean, do you guys ever think about why we have the loneliness male epidemic today? It's probably because women are coming to their senses and realizing that if we don't want to have sex or have kids with men or have a family or marriage or anything, we can choose to completely opt out of it until men get their shit together and learn how to build empathy. Because why would a woman ever put herself in a situation where with a man who doesn't think that she should be empowered to go and live her life and have freedom away from any man that could be bad, right? Only a man will treat a woman like she's a bird in a cage. A good man will treat a woman like she's someone who should go live out her life, live it freely, and have the freedom to do what she wants to do whenever she wants to do it. And her life not be defined by marriage or kids. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my take on feminism. Because, in my opinion, I feel as if there's a lot of expectations placed on women, which, if you want something in life, go and take it, go get it, whatever, work hard for it. But I think that women are also allowed to have dreams and accomplish things that are different than the norm. You know what I mean? And feminism is basically all feminism is about
Select a map.
what is this guy saying? Hello. The thing is, predators are violent, and people that fight to keep those predators away and justice have to pay with the same coin. Soft behavior cannot be priority the way. You only get soft because you suffer. Get the point of a good man. What?
Select your hero.
First, be illiterate before you start spitting absolutely nonsense in my. Like, first, be literate.
Choose hero
I'm tired of
points.
men thinking they can be women. Well, I think that men should be able to do what they want to do. If they. I'm in support of trans people. I feel as though. Did you. I don't know. I feel as though discrimination of any sort towards any group of people, in my opinion, is stupid. Unless it's, of course, like
Welcome
people
to
who are like
Esperanza.
something is wrong with them to the point where they like
Prepare for battle.
children. Now that I cannot agree
Select
with.
your hero.
I feel like if someone's trans though and they want to be a woman, you should give them all the grounds to be that. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think anyone who's transphobic is uneducated and They're the same people who years ago hated gay people. So that's what I feel about trans people. And I love trans people. There's some really amazing trans people. So I don't think that we don't discriminate against
I'll
any
get up no
sort of
matter how many
individuals
times
here.
they knock me down.
Expectations come with the job, not because you're a man or a woman. Men have to live up to expectations for centuries. Yeah, and I think that you're perfectly entitled to having the life that you want. But what I'm trying to say is feminism is about women being able to be whatever they want to be. So if you want a woman who cooks and cleans and does the traditional things that you want her to do, then hopefully you're the type of man who's going to pay the bills and make sure she has a house where she can stay at. Right? But let's say the woman doesn't want to be a stay-at-home wife. You're not going to go and force a woman who doesn't want to be a stay-at-home wife to be a stay-at-home wife. You're going to think about what she wants, because it isn't just about you. Just because you work hard doesn't mean that women don't. And just because some people don't consider women's jobs, well, that's...
They're moving the barricade.
But yeah, anyway.
I will never tire of this.
Enemy turret up ahead.
It circles back to empathy, exactly. Empathy and consideration. Having the empathy to consider
Don't let them
certain
push that
things.
barricade.
People don't just... They aren't just born homophobic and transphobic. They're around people who are like that. That normalize that behavior. That's why they think it's okay. It's not about they all of a sudden become evil one day. It's about they're around the wrong people. Because they don't have standards to their friendships. They're okay with being friends with men who are so loosey-goosey, but that's exactly the reason why they don't have a girlfriend. I mean, look at men who are on games, saying slurs, telling women that they're gonna grape them on the game. Look at who they're friends with. And I bet you none of those guys that are saying that stuff have a woman taking care of their meal at home. And if they do, they might have a lot of damn money. Because sometimes that's the only thing that some women need in order to like a man, is for them to have money. So sometimes these guys aren't always alone. Actually, it's the opposite, because misery likes company. Remember this. Misery likes company. So this guy does have a girlfriend. It's probably a girl that's using him. Because no girl that actually loves herself would be around a man like that. But because I think a lot of women are taught to not have any sort of self-esteem, no self-worth, don't stand up for themselves, don't speak up for themselves, stay quiet, stay shy, stay little, stay digestible, they are subconsciously teaching themselves and teaching people around them how to treat them. And so when they are constantly fawning is a victim, it's a defense, it's like it's a response to trauma. And so fawning is when a woman is dealing with harassment. Maybe instead of trying to argue with that guy on saying he said something misogynistic, instead she just stays quiet, maybe mutes the guy, whatever it is. That's fawning. Or even just like laughing along with it and just going with the flow about it, even though that's something that probably really bugged her. That's fawning.
Epic.
And fawning is something, it's like a people-pleasing thing. People-pleasing is never really good.
That's more like it.
Mainly because people-pleasing just teaches you to be like a pushover. Okay guys, what should we play now? I'm getting bored of Overwatch. I'm down to play some Fortnite or something. Let's see. Or we can play more Subnautica. Hmm. Or we can play Claire Obscure. Um, what do you guys want to play? Hmm. Or should I take a break and go to sleep? Let's see what time I have to wake up. But yeah, there was this TikTok that I was watching today, and it was this girl who was talking about how like her man is he cries a lot and he has like a lot of empathy and he'll point out a lot of the times where women are being mistreated and he completely like clocks it. And she talked about how like sometimes she doesn't even have to bring up when guys are being misogynistic. Like her husband will just bring it up out of the blue or like be like, oh, see, that's when it happened or whatever. And I thought that was so like it kind of restored my faith in humanity again, you know? Even though it's the bare minimum, obviously, but at the same time, it's like it's really I feel like nowadays hard to come across a man who has that like sort of empathy where they're able to just like call it out point blank and be like, mm-hmm, that guy's a misogynist, you know? Um, things like that, you know? And I'll be honest, like there was a point in my life where I dealt with so much like sexual harassment and so much like stuff where I did hate men. Like for a good while, I hated all of them. I hated them all, like a lot. I hated them and I would say it all the time. Sometimes I still say it. But I've learned throughout the years that the way that men treat me is not a definitive thing about me, and I know that not all men are like that, and that just because some of them have treated me bad doesn't mean that they're all like that. It just means that there were some that didn't know how to treat women the right way, you know? And the more like, you're around the right people, you go out in person and you meet these men, these misogynistic ideals don't hold up in real life, face to face, with powerful women in powerful positions. It's just a facade that a lot of online men carry. And I feel like because I've been online, a lot of people hide behind a mask. Whereas, like, if they saw me in person, they would never say that to my face. You know what I mean? So, I think it's funny. And now I feel like I've done more healing to understand that dismantling misogyny isn't about hating men back, and it's not about being violent towards them back. It's about dismantling what hurts both of us, you know? And it's about being around men who when you do say that you hate all men or whatever the fuck, they understand you and they sit there and they understand that you don't mean all men. You just sometimes feel like it's all men, you know? And that's when you and that's when you're around the right people, in my opinion, is like guys being able to understand why you've been so hurt to the point of feeling so much hatred towards all of them because your trust was eroded, right? To the point where you thought all of them were like that. But the reality is, just because you're hurt by this few doesn't mean all of them are bad. Thank you, iMarks, for the Prime sub. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for the Prime. and so, and so, as I've gotten older, I've realized that misogyny, like, and even on TikTok, like, I watch some girls that do deep dives on misogyny and they give like really good takes about it. And it's so good, like, and there's one thing that this girl she said that really stood out to me. It's not about like, and sometimes you guys know I clap back on stream a lot, which I shouldn't be doing, but at the same time I do it because like it's me standing up for myself, you know? But at the same time, she talked about how like dismantling misogyny is about like letting it starve. Like letting these people starve. Starve of any type of reaction, any type of attention, any type of response, whatever it is, starving it. And then creating distance from those people, you know? So like, for example, she talked about how misogyny, it doesn't strive off of, people just randomly being misogynistic. It's more about it strives because of normalization. And so when you give it attention and when you give it a reaction, you're kind of letting it know that it still exists and that it's still relevant. When sometimes all you need to do is just let it starve. Let it starve completely, like no reaction, nothing, and just block these people. Because at the end of the day, like I'm gonna give you a great example, okay, guys? So I had met this guy and he treated me so nice, okay? We went on this creator trip and we went to a different country. I'm not gonna say which one because I don't want you guys to find out who it is. I'm not really trying to like badmouth them or whatever, but I was getting to know this guy and it was like this influencer event and I was traveling alone to this specific country and to this specific influencer event. And I went in there alone. So, I would, mingle with other people and try to make friends. So eventually I did, right? And so I met this one guy and he was like, "Oh, are you doing anything after? We should come hang out with me and my friends. We should go out to eat together." And I was like, "Okay." So I had some mutual friends and we all went out to eat. During this whole thing, there was a woman who got raped. Graped without the G. She got graped at a party that I was at where there was a bunch of different men at and there was a man who was a tier 2 coach for this Valorant whatever tier 2 Valorant team. And this woman came out about how she was raped by him, or I think it was essayed. I'm not sure if she was fully raped. I don't know the details about the whole story, but all I know is she was violated. And everybody in that table, we were talking about it. Everybody in that table was like, "Ugh, girls are just so dramatic. Oh my God. Da 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 da. So dramatic. Can you believe like she was drinking? Like maybe she shouldn't have drank if she didn't want to get raped, basically, is what they were saying. And I don't know why, I don't know how people like this exist, but for some reason, to these people, this tier 2 coach, his career mattered more than this woman being raped. And you know why? It was because everyone was like, "Oh, I know exactly who she is. She's dramatic. I mean, look at the stuff she posts on her social media. She's provocative. She's this, whatever it is. She posts herself already for the world to see. She can't claim grape if she already puts it out on the internet for everyone to see." That's exactly what they were saying. And I remember sitting there in a room full of stupid, misogynistic piece of shit men, and I just sat there and I didn't say anything. Because in my mind, I was like, wow, I was assaulted one time too. And I never spoke up about it because I was scared. And this situation made me realize this is why a lot of women do not come forward about the things that happen to them, because a lot of people are trying to police them on whether or not they're allowed to be victims, whether or not they're they're telling the truth, because this guy was a successful tier 2 Valorant coach. Seriously? And I had this one guy tell me to my face, he was like, "If it was you, Jess, of course I would believe you." And I was like, this guy is fucking bullshitting me right now. Because I know he wouldn't. And why is it that when it's girls that you're attracted to, that's when all of a sudden you care? When it's a girl you're not attracted to anymore, that you don't actually know, that's when it's all of a sudden she's making it up? Now, I'm not saying that women sometimes don't make it up, whatever it is, but there's a 2 to 10% chance that women are making up lies when they are coming out about SA or when they're coming out about grape. And sometimes when it happens, there's no way to get proof that it happens because it happens too quick, and it's usually in a situation where a person is inebriated. Like in this instance, the woman was drinking alcohol and she was at a very crowded party. But it doesn't take away from the fact that she was hurt and that it's not her fault. And so I say this story because I was getting to know this guy and we were sitting at the dinner table and I had this realization that I was in the wrong group because I didn't like the fact that they were victim blaming this woman, making her out to be crazy. And it made me feel really bad for her because isn't it insane? Isn't that insane, chat? Like, how they can just sit there and then one of them had the audacity to say that, well, maybe she shouldn't have drank an alcohol. Maybe that, then it wouldn't have happened to her. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And then they even try to like say like, oh, but Jess, if it was you, like, uh, I would believe you in an instant. I'm not believing this bullshit. You know what I mean? And so after the dinner, I paid for my meal. And then I just remember feeling like I don't want to be friends with these motherfuckers no more because I can't believe they're able to just sit here, victim blame this woman, and act like there's going to be no consequences to it. You know? I don't care. And they were all trying to say, but I know her, Jess. I know she's going to lie about it. I was like, do you really, though? Do you really know what happened to her? Were you there? Did you see it? Did you see her making it up? No, you weren't. You're just speaking from a place of, like I said, misogyny, right? And so this, the trip was coming towards a close and we were gonna go out to get poutine. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm down to go get some poutine. At this point, I was still trying to figure out the guy that was interested in me, trying to figure out his stance on it. And at first when I was talking to them, I actually believed them at first. And I was like, "Oh, maybe she is making it up?" But then as I did some thinking and as I looked into it, it made me realize like I can't believe these people are like just taking this tier 2 violent coach side so easily, you know? But at first, I actually believed them. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're telling the truth. So then we went out and we hung out again and we went to go get poutine. And this guy was really kind. He paid for some of my Ubers and he's treating me really nicely. He even got an Uber for us to go into, make sure that I get to my Airbnb safe, and then he left back to his place that he was Airbnb, whatever, right? And so at first, like I had a good outlook on this man, but then that's the thought of like them blaming that woman really like stuck with me, and I started thinking about it more, and now I'm pretty sure about how I feel about it. And I feel as though they were responding very misogynistically to this whole situation. And I try to point out like their misogyny and stuff like that, but like they didn't try to understand my point of view, right? And so as I was getting to know this guy, it was like I initially thought like, oh, maybe he doesn't like maybe he's not misogynistic. Maybe like this girl is really crazy like they're saying. And so at first I kind of believed them, but then I did my own thinking for myself and I later realized like after processing and after thinking for myself, a lot of the things they were saying was like coming from a place of they were just victim blaming her. You know what I'm saying? They thought that, no, because especially because of the guy, he was a tier 2 Valorant coach, which means he has a really good job. And a lot of people have more empathy for men who have a really good job compared to a woman who gets hurt. And so in this instance, at first I was like, okay with hanging around them. But then I wanted to get to know this guy, like seriously get to know this guy. False accusations do happen, but what's crazy, if you look up the statistic, it's a 2 to 10% chance that a woman is telling a lie, according to statistics. So if we go based off statistics, in this situation, it's likely that she was actually telling the truth. And even though she wasn't a perfect victim, in a way where, maybe she did do some provocative Twitter posts, maybe she did do OnlyFans or things like that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that just because she did OnlyFans or just because she over-sexualized herself on the internet doesn't mean that she is not allowed to get violated in a public space where she's in a place of vulnerability when she's inebriated and she's drinking. When you see a person drunk on the street, you're not thinking, how can I take advantage of this person? A good person would make sure that that drunk person gets help from medical if they need it, or has a sip of water and a ride home so they're not drinking and driving. That's what a good person would do. So just like in this situation, if a man sees a woman in a vulnerable state where she's drinking, he's not going to take advantage of her while she's drinking. Because when a woman is drinking, when a man is drinking, he cannot consent. Have you guys ever watched the video of the consent video? So if you watch the video about consent, it uses tea as an analogy to describe you're not going to shove tea down somebody's throat, because when they're drinking, they cannot consent to having tea. So you can stir the pot, get the kettle ready, get the pot, all of it all ready, and the person can say, oh, I want tea, but now later on, I don't want any more tea. Then at the end of the day, consent is consent. And if you can't consent, then it's grape. It's assault. And your consequences should have actions to it. I'm not saying I would assume that it's happening often, just that it's caused doubt of those real victims to raise their voices to be silenced. Which is misogyny, by the way. Because it's so much easier, like I said, for these men, instead of holding the men around them accountable, those successful that they look up to accountable, they would, instead of sitting with that discomfort, with the idea that someone they look up to that is very successful in their field as a shitty piece of shit human being that touches women without consent, they would rather make a woman out to be crazy instead of sitting there in the discomfort. That's all it is. And if that's who you are, then you're a misogynist, and I don't fucking like you. So, anyway, back to my story. So, this guy was like buying my Ubers, really trying to impress me, get to know me and stuff like that. And we were playing games together, getting to know each other. And I was really trying to pick his brain to see if this guy was misogynistic. Spoiler, he was. Which, of course, I like to think the benefit of the doubt of men before I actually jump to any, right? So I started asking him questions and things like that, because when you're on a first date or when you're getting to know somebody and you're thinking about dating them because you find them attractive, whatever it is, you're going to ask them questions to make sure that you guys have similar values and similar ideals, right? And so I started asking him questions about the whole situation and how I think that what they were doing was, what they were saying about her was wrong, and that I don't think they're right about what they're saying. And yeah, I forgot where it led, but it was something about how we got to the conversation of how he made this comment during the whole conversation. He was like, men think more logically while women are more emotional. and don't think logically because they think more emotionally. And so he tried to paint it as if he was complimenting me and how he loves emotions towards women. He loves women that are emotional, and he thinks that it's beautiful that women are more soft and emotional and things like that. But in the same way, I know exactly like how men paint emotions. He wasn't painting me out to be logical, which I found to be extremely disrespectful, and I think that it's stupid. And I even asked my dad, I was like, "Dad, do you think that it's true that men are more logical and women are more emotional?" And my dad has been through the ringer of like very different people. And he said, "No, I think it varies person to person. Everybody can be both emotional and logical. Instead of saying one gender is logical and one gender is emotional, is its negative stereotypes, you know?" And so this guy was like, men are more men are more logical, women are more emotional. I was like, that's not true. And then we got into like an argument about it. And then after that I realized during the argument he tried flirting with me. He was like, "Princess." I was like, "Ew, don't call me princess." And I was having a serious, like, intellectual conversation with this man, and he has the audacity to try to flirt with me and be like, "Princess." I just remember being like, "Whoa, like, what was that about?" And then I just remember just feeling really uncomfortable, and like everything that I was trying to get across to him, he wasn't grasping. And in that moment, I realized he was attracted to me. He probably wanted to date or sleep with me or whatever it was. I don't know. But it wasn't about respecting me. And so I made the conscious decision to realize, I'm attracted to this guy. He's treated me nice. I don't trust myself to cut this guy off properly. And so I made the decision to block him. So I blocked him. And after our argument, I just straight up blocked him. And at first I was like, okay, this is valid. Like, I'm just, setting boundaries. I don't really want to be friends with this guy anymore. He makes me uncomfortable. The way that he tried to flirt with me in the middle of an argument while we're trying to have an intellectual conversation about whether men or women are emotional or logical. And I sat there, feeling bad about blocking him. And so I decided to unblock him. And then I told him in a message, I was like, "Hey, look, I realized it was a bit immature for me to block you. I wanted to let you know that I don't think me and you would work out based off of the conversations that we had. And I feel like we have two different opinions, and I feel like we just wouldn't be good together, but I don't even see us as friends." So, and I was like giving him an example as to why I was blocking him, which I shouldn't have explained it, but I explained it because I felt like it was immature for me to just straight up block him without any sort of like explanation or like give him closure to our relationship, whatever it was. It was just like a little situationship. It wasn't even a long relationship or anything. I barely like knew him. But I wanted to give him the consideration to be like, "Oh, hey, this is why I'm blocking you. Like, I just don't think me and you could be friends or even relationship, whatever." And then he texted me, or I think we like talked about it on a phone call, and he goes, "See, this is what I mean about women being emotional and blocking you." What did I say? Emotional. And I was like, "Wow." And the crazy part was it wasn't like I just blocked him out of nowhere. I had thought about it for a couple of days. And blocking people isn't an emotional response. Blocking for me is about setting boundaries and distancing myself from people who shouldn't be in my space, you know? Like, I'll still be cordial in person if I ever, see this person in person, but I don't think I want to be around someone like that. You know what I mean? And I think that making it seem like me blocking him as an emotional response is an example of how he never respected me and he saw all of my actions as emotional instead of seeing it as a boundary. Do you understand what I mean? Because women can only act out emotionally to men that disrespect and have this internalized hatred towards women. Bro, you just proved his point. You're on here still bothered about it. I'm just having a conversation with my community. It's not that I'm still bothered by it. I think that it's better that you're not in my community because if that's what you've gained from this conversation, then you're clearly not listening. A debate is a debate. I'm not here to debate with men that are going to be 40 till they're single. I'm good. Some dudes like to position a genuine logical thought from a woman as being emotional reaction regardless of whether they know what they want and how to articulate that. Exactly. And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying exactly. I bring up this topic only to talk about how misogyny is bad and how it has taken place in my real life. I'm not talking about this because I miss this guy or want to be friends with him. I realized that he wasn't just we weren't good for each other. You know what I mean? And that's all that it really was. Because how can you be with someone who has a completely different point of view on what women and men are like? Or like how they're gonna respond to things. Anyway, calling a woman princess is only for dads towards their daughters. Yeah, exactly. Or like things like that. And then the fact that this is how I knew he didn't have any respect for me, like flirting with me in the middle of like an argument, like it wasn't even like an argument, it was more like a conversation about like what we both disagreed on. And it was just more of a discussion. But I just thought it was interesting how he was so willing to just try to flirt with me and call me like princess and things like that, which I don't, which it like really threw me off because the way that I connect to people is by like having conversations with them. You know, like flirting is fine, but like there's a time and place, and it has to be mutual. At this point, I was still trying to figure out whether or not I liked this guy because I know how men work, and I know that if they're super quick to flirt with you and stuff like that, it's probably because they just see you as like a good time, you know? And so I just wanted to see if like he was even somebody that I wanted to be around. But then I realized he wasn't because the way that I like unblocked him just to like apologize and be like, "Oh, because I seriously meant it. Like I thought, maybe I should let him know why I'm blocking him first before I block him." And so because I just wanted to be courteous as to why I didn't want to be involved with him anymore. But then I realized sometimes it's better to just keep people like that blocked because they're probably going to be hurt by the fact that you block them and then they're going to say something mean like that guy said. And then like that guy in my chat said too is like telling me that I proved his point when I didn't block him out of a like emotion. It was actually like it was a thought out decision and I was taking like multiple days of us like, different instances where we hung out and we talked together. and realizing that I was attracted to him physically, and I liked his job, he bought me Ubers and things like that. I thought was really nice, and it was a good impression, the way he was. But then I realized, like, deeper, like, I wanted to get to know him deeper. And when I would ask him these deep questions and stuff like that, that's when I realized he didn't have respect for a woman. It was more like he acted like it. Because if he did, he wouldn't have called me blocking him emotional. When it wasn't emotional. I had thought about it for a long time throughout the time that we were getting to know each other. I was just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And that's why I think that I didn't block him sooner, or like distance myself sooner. Because I tend to think people like give them the benefit of the doubt, And so that's why. But now I learned that sometimes when it comes to guys like that, all you have to do is just block them and then just leave it alone. Because just the fact that he like flirted with me in the middle of a conversation that was supposed to be serious, like it just made me feel extremely disrespected as a friend and as a potential partner. It made me feel like he had no respect for women and he expected me to just listen to everything that he says as if he's right about everything. And I hate men like that can't treat getting to know women that are very capable of being educated and intellectual individuals that can also educate you on things. I hate when men act like they're all knowing and like a woman could never teach me shit, like you're just it's very dense. It's screaming my daddy and my mommy didn't love me as a child and that I'm right about everything when you're not right about everything. I'm not right about everything, you know? That's why it's important when you're around people to like keep an open mind. And then, you know what I mean? And that's why I stuck around so long, because when I meet people, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I feel like that's human. You know what I mean? Giving people the benefit of the doubt is human. Flirt is emotion, so he gave himself away saying men are not emotional. Yeah. Can I say for any gentleman here, we can always think women are in a happy, cheerful mood. We can't always think, wait, what? We can't always think women are in a happy, cheerful mood. They just want to chill, be down, and share. Yeah, sometimes women just want to talk too, like, and when you're the type of man who actually like respects the things that are coming out of a woman's mouth, like, you're probably better with women anyways, like, because just giving them that room to talk and actually like listening is so important. I feel like I've had a lot of moments where I was, talking to men and I would talk about things that really mattered to me. And then they would be like, "Oh, I'm tired now. I'm gonna go to sleep now." And then I met this guy that actually did like me. And when I would go on my little rants talking about the things that I liked, he would sit there and be like, "I love what you talk about. You know what?" And then he would even like give little responses of like making me feel like he was actually listening to the things I was saying. And I know it's the bare minimum, but like when I met this guy, it was like, oh my God, where are guys like this? You know? Because I never come across them. And it's literally just like listening sometimes. Thank you, God above all kings, for the gifted sub. And you can learn a lot from men and women. Like, so acting like just because of our gender that you can't learn something from us, it's like, it's so toxic. And that's the real thing that's separating men from women is you guys not listening to us and you guys not, hearing out women when they're telling you when things are unfair. That's the thing that's really separating men from women. That's what's making women less attracted to men nowadays is the fact that you guys don't want to listen or, try to understand where a woman is coming from when she's talking about something like, For example, when a woman says she wants a provider man, every single man, you can tell by the way that they say, oh, that's so materialistic, that they're completely brushing past the actual reasoning as to why women want a provider. It's not about materialism, and you'll never see me talking about designer bags and designer clothing and designer items. You talk about me choosing a partner who's going to set a good example for the future generations, for my future bloodline. Why would I want to pick a man who's not even responsible for his own finances? You know, if I'm capable of being responsible with my finances, then what is stopping him from being responsible, you know? Is it a lack of accountability? Is it self-destructive behavior? Because I feel like the men who say they want a man who's, or sorry, the men who say they want a woman who just accepts them for who they are, which, like, everybody wants that. But you have to realize when you're getting into a partnership, you cannot say it's only about the way you guys feel for each other when it comes down to being responsible about the people that you love. You can't say that, well, I'm the victim too, so I'm just gonna not provide for my family. Like, that's very self-destructive and it's self-sabotage when you tell yourself that, well, my woman's gonna love me for me, but it's like, you have to understand that, like, you can have both. You can have a woman who loves you for you, but also have a woman in your life that pushes you to be the provider man that you should be. Because if you think about it, when you have more money, when you have more resources, you can provide a home that's more safe for the woman in your life, and then she therefore can give you a beautiful home, you know, with beautiful kids, and she can raise them in a place that's not a stressful environment, you know what I mean? It's about it's about realizing that those men who are so insecure and tell on themselves every single time when they are saying they don't want to provide for women, they're literally telling on themselves every single day. Like, they're telling on themselves because why would you want, like, because the thing is, they brush over the point too. They brush over the point and they try to make it about materialism when that's not the reality. Kids are just really expensive, you know? And so when you date a woman, you have to think about those things, you know, when you're getting involved with a woman and potentially like putting her at risk of being pregnant. You have to think about how you're gonna figure out a way to provide for your family and be a provider and not just wait until the last minute to figure it out, but to figure it out when you beforehand. Because if you actually cared about something, you cared about your own life and you cared about the people around you, then you would hold yourself accountable, you know? Instead of feeding into your insecurities and saying, well, only a woman really loves you when she. No, a woman who really loves you is going to push you to be the best version of yourself. But you don't see it as love because you want to construe it as she's materialist. No, a woman who really loves you, she will push you and she will tell you what you're doing wrong. But if she's lucky enough to be with a man who already holds himself accountable, then she might never have to correct your behavior. You know what I mean? But real love, it's like when your parents are like, don't go do drugs. You think they're crazy and you think they're just, you know, whatever it is. But really, what they're trying to do for you is they're trying to set you up to be a good example to those around you and a good example to yourself and not throw your entire life away to substances. Now, it's not to say that the people, I know that, you know, addiction and substance abuse is a very sensitive topic, and some people use it to deal with anxiety, to deal with cancer. In that case, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking more so about people who literally let it become a form of escapism and as a way to escape from the realities and the harshness of the world, and even a distraction from yourself. Confronting yourself, confronting your ego, and realizing it's okay to make mistakes, and confront your ego in a way that's like, you're not right about everything, you're still learning. You know what I mean? And exactly, a woman that helps you grow is a wife. Exactly. And that's what I mean. And the same thing with like your parents. Like, think of your parents. Like, obviously you don't want your partner to like treating you like a parent, stuff like that. That's why when you go into a relationship, you should go into it already as a whole person, not somebody that needs to be fixed. Now, obviously not everyone's gonna be perfectly perfect in a relationship, but it's about the idea of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's about pushing yourself and pushing those around you to do better. Your mom loved you, your wife loves your kids. Exactly. What? What? Anyway, do you get what I mean? Thank you, God above all kings, for the gifted stuff, by the way. Um, oh, we're gonna play Claire Obscure. Okay. Thank you for the 50 subs. Thank you. Okay, time for Claire Obscure. Do you get what I mean? So, but if you're the type of man who, unfortunately, I met this guy and he was dealing with really bad insecurities. And when I told him like the things that I wanted, instead of treating it like it was a problem to solve in the relationship, he treated me like my standards were a little bit too much for him. And I remember him breaking up with me after I had gave him one piece of constructive criticism. Basically, it was like the whole in and out thing, right? Where he made me pay for my in and out after after we were starting to date and stuff. And I was like, ew. And I confronted him and I was like, hey, when we're dating, I don't think it's appropriate that I pay for my meals if we're going out and we're going on dates. Like, you should be paying for my meal. You know, that's just like what I expect in relationships, you know? Not that you have to, but like I just feel like what makes me feel pursued as a woman. When a man goes out of his way to buy my meal, it makes me feel pursued. So when you, instead of paying for the entire meal, you let me embarrass myself in front of this In-N-Out burger employee, like, and pay for your meal, and then they literally put the you know, the little tap receiver for the payment. They literally reached the passenger seat for me to pay for my meal. And then I remember feeling like embarrassed, like just completely embarrassed, because I just don't see myself with that type of man ever, who like thinks it's okay that I'm ever touching a bill and stuff like that. Like, I just find it to be so unattractive, and I think of him as like a friend at that point, because I'm like, if we're paying for each other's meals, like if he's paying like if he's paying for my meal, then I see him as a man who's like, he's protecting me. He is gonna be my husband. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, right? Like, that's what I see. But then when a guy makes me pay for things, I feel like ew. Like, I just feel ill. Like, ew. Like, I see him as like a roommate, or like I see him like a friend. Basically, the best way I can describe it is like I see him as a friend at that point, because no longer does it feel like he's pursuing me. And yeah, and that's what I felt. And then after I brought up the In-N-Out incident, you know, we made up about it. You know, he said, oh, okay, I'll try to do better, like I'll make sure to pay for the meals next time and stuff like that. He told me he was gonna do that. And then anyway, I think one of the biggest red flags in a man is a man who's okay, like, seeing his wife work. Like, for me, like, I only work because I want to, because that's like my goals and my dreams, my ambitions. But like, I just think it's such a red flag, like being okay with the woman in your life suffering. Like, I just can't. I don't know what it is about it, but it just makes me feel so like, and I'm talking about like romantical. Like, I just can't be emotionally attracted to a guy if he just doesn't feel this urge to pursue me and provide for me.
Let him cook.
It just makes me so, like, it's one of the biggest offs. And I think nowadays, just because like women are getting jobs and things like that, more men are getting comfortable with being treated like women. And so they want a little bit of piece of the cake of how women are being treated. That's why I think 50-50 exists. Anyway, that's my TED Talk. Hope you enjoyed. Who's your bias? I'm your bias. Who's your bias? I'm your bias. But yeah, like after, oh, and then, okay, so what happened was, let me tell you the story. So,
Let him cook.
thank you for the gifts. So after the, okay, so after the in and out thing, we had the conversation, we made up, and then we, you know, engaged in activities, like fun couple activities and stuff like that. And I go to my car to leave, right? And then he goes up to me, he's like, I want to break up. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, we just had a conversation. Like, I thought that, you know, we made up about it. Like, I wasn't trying to attack you. I wasn't trying to make you feel insecure or, like, you know, feel like shit. I just was telling you what makes me feel loved. And I feel pursued, you know, when a man pays for my meals. That's it. And he's like, well, I just don't see us together. Like, you remind me a lot of my mom, and she made me feel like I wasn't enough. And that's what you're making me feel like. And I was like, okay, so you want to break up? And I was like, I literally like crashed out. I started bawling my eyes out and literally humiliated myself. Like, I literally was like, that's so stupid. Like, that's so dumb. Like, fine, okay, I guess we're gonna break up then, you know what I mean? And I just was literally having a whole crash out because I had thought we made up. I had literally like, we were doing all these fun, cute, coupley things, you know? And I just remember just feeling so used and discarded completely. It made me realize, like, no matter what you do for a man, no matter like who you are, if they don't appreciate you, they didn't appreciate you, they didn't value you. And I just felt so horrible. And he ended up like apologizing, and then we got back together, whatever. It was weird. It was like dumb. Like, and then I went home, and ever since that moment, things really changed. And I started realizing that maybe we wouldn't be together. Because how are you gonna just give up after our one argument, you know, or one, you know? It made me feel like he was the type to just give up on me and abandon me, which is exactly like what happened. He gave up on himself, you know, gave up on, you know, getting help. And so I realized like there's no point in me trying to fight for this. It was like a one-sided fight. And I completely just focused on myself. And I don't regret it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was a really healthy ultimatum for me to be like, if you want to continue and have a future together, you're going to need to seek therapy, you know? That's all I wanted from him was for him to seek therapy and stuff like that. Um, and obviously, he didn't want to. So, you said it yourself, these hoes ain't loyal. True. And yeah. And then it ended. Obviously, a lot more happened. But yeah, it ended. And honestly, I'm super glad it ended because I feel like that relationship like drained the life out of me. And it made me feel so insecure about everything. Like I remember even it was like one of my slowest months on Twitch and on social media, like all together, like I had never, I didn't see growth. It was like it was going down, down, downhill. And at the time I was like renting. So I was just going into really bad like financial decisions, and I was in this super bad depressive rut, and I felt like it was because I was in this relationship. As soon as I got out, guys, like I had a moment of grief, you know, obviously grieving somebody that you care about. And then, oh my God, it was like my life completely did a 360, like as in everything was so much better. I started like seriously believing in myself for the first time, because no one talks about how like being around somebody who's so insecure, it rubs off on you and it starts affecting you mentally, you know? And at the time I was learning how to do K-pop dance class, and I would go into the dance classes and I would, you know, doubt myself way too much. And it was because subconsciously I was surrounding myself with people that doubted me. He doubted me. And in a lot of ways, he tried to bring me down, you know, because he felt bad that like I had a lot of viewers or whatever. I had a lot of support on social media and stuff like that. On TikTok, like my one of my biggest platforms, I had more followers than him. And I remember we had this conversation about how he thought that it was harder to get YouTube subscribers than it was for me to get TikTok's like followers and stuff like that, and how it's easier to get followers on TikTok, which I'm not saying that YouTube isn't hard, but I think it was really wrong for him to like compare us, because in my opinion, yes, it is difficult to do YouTube, but to discredit my work and to say that I didn't work hard for the thousands of followers that I've gotten, you know? It felt like he wanted to feel like he was above me in this relationship. When in the reality was is I was, you know, very powerful and had my own stuff going on, you know? And I think that guys like that are just like energy vampires. Like insecure men can be energy vampires. So as soon as I got out of that relationship, my life like did a complete 360, and I've been feeling in my single era, I've been feeling way more healthy, and like I'm finally going to dance class, and I'm actually like memorizing the dances, and I'm like getting better, you know? And I finally just feel like I'm growing as a person, you know? And I feel like sometimes you will not notice it, but like when you're around those really insecure people, they really hold you down. They really stunt your growth. And hopefully when I meet someone else, they won't do that to me. But yeah. Um but yeah, that's it. I mean, not saying that he was fully to fault, because like honestly I sometimes blame myself for being in that relationship. Like maybe as soon as he broke up with me, I should have just left. Like I think about it a lot. In that moment that he first broke up with me, I realized, huh, maybe I should have just drove off in my car and never saw him again. Because I remember that drive home after he broke up with me, but then we got back together. I remember driving home and being like, dang, he would just give up on me because I said I feel pursued when a man pays for my, you know, meals. Like I felt this like gut-wrenching pain, like this heartbreak, you know, because I had expectations and obviously they weren't met, right? And you know, at first, like I treated it like, well, it was just like a minor slip up, but then it became a pattern. And then that's how I really knew that it was like, that's who he really was. He didn't think that women were valuable enough to like pay for their meals and provide for them, you know? He wanted to be treated because he felt like, you know, he was the prize. And I think that's my biggest mistake is I should have been in a relationship where a man realizes who the real prizes, and the real prizes is we're both the prize. But I love a man who treats women like we're the absolute, you know, goddesses of the earth. Like that's just the type of men that I like, you know what I mean? And I don't know. That's how I like. But that's what I like. But obviously, like, I picked wrong, and I sometimes blame myself for picking wrong, but I think it's just because, like, I had a lack of experience and a lack of understanding of how relationships really work. And so I blame myself for how it went down because I think about how, like, maybe I just should have left when I felt that gut feeling of that it wasn't gonna work out. You know what I mean? But I just hate giving up on situations and people, and I hate giving up on, the idea that it might work out, but yeah. But I'm just glad that I'm not in that situation anymore. Like, I used to be so in pain about it. Like, I remember for the first week that we had broken up, I would hear a car like driving up in my driveway, and I would think that it was him. And so I would have this like pain in my stomach that he wasn't there anymore. Like, that detaching part was hard. Oh my God, it was so hard. But I'm so glad that I'm like past that. And even though the grief was really hard for a moment, I realized, like, damn, like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, maybe I should have just, like, as soon as he broke up, like, maybe I should have just drove off in my car and, like, went to my best friend's house and told her all the gossip tea. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, my best friend, Bella, she's not gonna leave me. You know what I mean? Or, like, my sister. Like, I should have called my sister or something. I think I ended up, like, texting one of my close friends about it. And she was like, you need to break up with him. Like, you need to end things. And for a while, I just couldn't. But then I realized, like, you know what it was? I think it was me. Like, what I realized from that relationship, like, the self-growth that I had was I tend to put men on the pedestal and not myself. And then that's why I get treated like shit. Because I end up putting them on the pedestal when in reality I should be on the fucking pedestal first of all. You know what I mean? And that's what I realized is I need to just start putting myself on a pedestal and not giving a fuck. You know? That's what I realized. Anyway, put yourself on the pedestal, chat. Don't put anybody else but yourself on that damn pedestal, okay? These motherfuckers, they're motherfuckers, alright? Anyway. Okay, guys, let me know. Let me know if the... Wait, did the timer go up in the right corner, guys? Let me know, because I don't know if it went up or not. I don't know what time I should sleep tonight, but okay. Let's play a little bit. Anyway, that's my TED Talk. I hope you liked it. Now I'm loving myself entirely, like... And I have no room for anything else right now, because, like, all I have room for is just loving myself. And I think it's gonna be like that for a really long time. Which I'm okay with that, because, like, honestly, I don't think anything's wrong with, like, staying in your single era. And sometimes it's okay to get into situations with people and, like, realize it's not meant for you. Should have played for so we kept the TED Talk going. I mean, I still can. I'm kind of done with this conversation. I don't know what else to talk about, but we're still doing subathon, guys, so... Oh, let me change the subathon incentive. What should we make it next? You know what I'm craving? I'm craving some freaking ramen right now. We should change it to 100 subs. Play. Should I play for 100 subs? Think. Or what should I do for 100 subs? What's a good 100 subs incentive? Um, um, hmm. 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 Karaoke. 100 subs karaoke. Okay. Or maybe we should make it smaller. Maybe we should make it like 75. Yeah, 75. Okay, guys. So basically how subathon works is if that timer runs out, we have to end stream. So yeah, that's how it works. I was thinking about making it like 2000 to match with the TikTok timer, but we can't make it 2000 because mainly because it doesn't show up properly. So I was like, okay, maybe we do like 200 hours. That might show up, but even that like doesn't show up properly. Because we still have a lot of hours on our TikTok timer. But what do you guys think? I don't know. But I do feel pretty tired after dance class. Oh, wait, is the volume low? Let me turn it up. Like, I have a bit of a headache. I feel like I danced way too hard today. I might get a migraine tomorrow. Oh wait, I didn't learn my skills. Hold on. I think I might get off soon so I can take a break and chill for a bit. I do need to shower and all that. I might... I don't know. What do you guys think? Also, did the two gifted... Like, did the Prime and did the gifted sub add time to the timer, guys? Do you remember seeing it go up? I don't remember seeing it go up or not. I don't know. Uh-oh. Hopefully it went up. How do I look at my map? Staying hydrated. Yes. I got my coconut water. I'm running out of coconut water. I don't know if it went up or not. I don't know. I've been like, I've been yapping the entire time, so maybe that's why nobody subscribed. Maybe that's why nobody subscribed. I was just yapping. Only one person. Thank you to that one person. Okay, guys, let's see. Where do I have to go? I have to go to Gastorial Village? I just be yapping, man. I think bits also increase the timer as well. Does it say how many super chats? Oh my god, it doesn't say. Yeah, technically, like right now on the TikTok subathon timer, we have literally like 2,000 hours. And it still has yet to go down. I couldn't add those hours to Purple app because like the timer just glitches out and it doesn't let me add 2,000 hours. So I was like not sure if we should start it on 2,000 hours. So I just started it at 5 hours. Oh my god, Anonymous! Thank you for the gift. Wait, did it go up? The
An
timer?
anonymous user gifted a tier 1 subscription to
I think it
Calambrasa.
did. Thank you for the gifted sub to Calambrasso. Anonymous. Thank you. I don't know where I'm going. Thank you, thank you. W Anonymous gifter. W's in the chat for Anonymous. Oh my god, that scared me. Thank you, thank you. I don't even know how to like... Wait, is this a fight that we have to do? Uh-oh. What is this, guys? I can't hear anything? Really? What is this? The hell? Oh my god, what is that? Oh, hell no, 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 no. I don't want to fight. I don't like the map. I don't know where to go from here. But yeah, but you know what's crazy, chat? Like, after that whole situation, chat, like, it's like my life did a complete 360. Like, I've been just focused on my grind. We got it monetized on YouTube in about 1 month. And I don't know, like, the crazy part of it all is like that's unheard of. Like, I feel like when you are on YouTube, it takes a long time to get monetized, but I got monetized in a literal month. And yeah, I just think it's kind of insane, like, how far we've come, especially on YouTube. Like, I've been able to build a bit of a steady, you know, community here. You know, we have some regulars now. Same thing with TikTok. We've been doing that too, and then Kick new. Of course, we gotta get on that Kick grind, of course. But I don't know. I just feel like it's just kind of insane how you can build communities around and like just do it, even if it's multiple. You know, and every single one is different. But I think what's crazy is like, and what I mean by like 360 is like after that, like we had an insane like surge of new gifters, of people like just trying to like help out in the streams, and it's been insane, like the amount of support we've been getting. And these are people that don't even like know me, they don't even have access to me or like are able to take advantage of me like sexually or anything like that. They're just here, like just gifting and being so kind and giving so much love to the community, you know, and to me and to everybody, like. And I feel like because I've been distancing myself from like those toxic people, it's helped me to attract the right people that are willing to like show up and like treat me the way I deserve. You know what I mean? Like, not even just treat me the way I deserve, but like treat others the way that they deserve, you know? And I feel like you only attract that when you start separating yourself from people that are not healthy for you. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like, I had this insane gifter. He got us, like, a laptop, and I've been able to start editing on it and stuff, and it's, guys, it's not just any cheap laptop. Like, this laptop is by itself on its own. Like, it's a monster laptop. It is the laptop for editors and content creators, and it's perfect for line of work that I want to go into in the future, you know? And he did not have to do that, you know? Like, he went out of his way to do so many things to support. And I remember feeling like, I just remember crying, like, just feeling like I didn't know that this is the type of love that I deserved. As, like, sad as it sounds, like, it's true. Like, I didn't realize, oh my god, like, I'm so deserving of gifts, and I just felt so abundantly, like, loved. And then that's when I realized, like, that's just, like, my love language is gift giving, right? And so that's why I'm a streamer, you know what I mean? But also it's because, like, I don't know, I just love gifts and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And when I just felt so loved. And for a while when I was in this relationship, I didn't feel loved at all. Like, I just felt completely neglected, and you know what I mean? Like, it was reverse. Reverse, he literally bought us a whole entire laptop. Like, I can't explain how, like, grateful I am for that, because it's, like, not even just, like, it's just insane how there's people in this world, like, they don't expect anything from me, that they just want to make my career thrive, and just are rooting for me on the sidelines, and even, like, trying to be, he's, like, he kind of treats me like he's protective, and, you know, treats me like kind of like a little kid, like, make sure I watch out for certain people in the industry, of course, because he knows how the industry is. Stuff like that. I really appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate people who are willing to protect us, because he knows how men can be sometimes, and how not all of them are great and all that. And so I appreciate that a lot. But there's a lot of other, you know... Okay, cool, but you look like you're not a bad mom clip. Oh my god, everybody has been telling me that. I'm not her, but I had someone say that to me on TikTok. I thought that was so funny. You're not a bad mom. No, when I saw that clip, I thought it was funny. She does kind of look like she looks like my sister, actually. But people tell me and my sister look like twins. So, yeah, no, literally, like, I just remember thinking, like, I just remember crying when I got my laptop. Like, I just felt so happy. I just remember thinking, like, I don't know why a human being would go out of their way to do something like that, but for another person, but yeah, just it really, really made me feel grateful to have the community I have today. Made me happy. And also just happy that I was able to come across such a, like, giving people, and not even just like him, but also just everybody else too, like everybody else. Like, cause it's also like, it's not just the big stuff too. It's like, it's also about like the little wins. WP. He's not my BF. But like, that's what I mean by, like, this guy isn't even dating me. He doesn't have plans to date me or nothing, and he's just generous. Like, it's really cool how there's guys that don't expect anything out of anything, and he's just like, you know, just trying to, you know what I mean? Just trying to make a positive impact, because I'm not the only one he does this to, too. Like, he does this to other people on social media. Like, it's not just me. So, like, that's how I know it's, like, it's not weird. So. And so, yeah. But it's not just him, like, it's also... No, you're good, Sloppy. But no, that's what we were talking about, like we were talking about how, like, my literal BF, like, my little ex before, like, would complain about doing things like that for me. And I just remember feeling like, dang.
Now to find the chief's house.
Like, it's crazy how, like, you can come across people, and not even just men, but it's, like, also, like... But it's also just, like, think of this. It's not just men, it's also, like, women who have, like, for example, Alexis. Like, Alexis is one of our mods, and she's always super supportive. She's been there for me through a lot of stuff, and she's been there to defend me and protect me, and she's one of the girls in the community that she goes out of her way to make time. Even if she doesn't, you know, I don't expect her to. I don't expect any of you guys to give me an insane amount or anything like that. But when people do, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it does help. Or like, not even just gifting me gifts, like, it's also like dedicating your time to be able to spend in the community, or like help moderate, because you know how the crazy things can get. Or like, just even like little things, like little roses. Like, I know some people come in, drop a heart me, and then they leave. These little gifts, they add up. So they count too, you know what I mean? It's not all about the big gifts. It's about like, you know what I mean? It's also about like how we come together as a community to try to, you know, keep things running, because at the end of the day, it is an important aspect, whether people like to think it isn't or not. Like, money isn't everything, but it obviously plays a role. And at the end of the day, it's my responsibility as a content creator. That's why I started my YouTube channel, because my YouTube channel is me, you know, trying to branch out and make sure that when I'm having bad months on Purple, or I'm having bad months on TikTok, that, you know, okay, well, I have YouTube, so I can rely on that. You know, it's not like, it's about like creating systems where you have multiple sources of rev, so that way that if one is struggling, or like, you know, maybe some people are not able to sub that month, you know, gas prices going up, whatever it is, like, people are able to watch my YouTube channel, and that's free. And then I get paid through the ads, and then maybe I can one day get sponsors, you know, things like that. So it's like, not everything is about gifts, but yeah, YouTube really helps too, because it can create like a little bit of a system, so that way, like, not everything. That's like, a lot of people ask me how I'm able to like keep things afloat. One, of course, I have some of the most generous gifters known to man, but also I have like an amazing growing community on YouTube that has yet to grow into something bigger, of course, which we're trying to, you know, I'm trying to polish things, of course, to make it more professional, but obviously, like, this is kind of just the beginning, you know, and we're so far so good. Like, we're actually doing really good on YouTube, and I feel as though, like, maybe with a little bit more consistency and better quality videos, it'll start to take off and do better. I think that I also just need to work on, like, what I've been working on recently is, like, when I do get into that mode of, like, YouTube vibe, I'm, like, all loud and energetic, and we're having fun, and it's a different vibe than when you're in my stream and we're just yapping about, like, life stuff, right? But it's, like, kind of like a switch, right? Like, we do, and then I'm practicing being, like, better at comedic timing. And I'm even thinking of like taking an improv class, or like going to a comedy show, so I can like learn how to be more witty and how I can be better on camera. So that way when I do like make fun little skits, or, you know, we're reacting to the next new funny game or rage bait game or brain rot, whatever it is, then it's actually something that's gonna resonate with other people and give them, oh my god, that scared me, like actual comedic value, and like a break from the life, like break from life and like the harsh realities, you know, of the world. Because that's initially like why I started content creation, was because content creation growing up for me was an escape. Thank you for the galaxy, Ido. How do I say your name? Idone? I keep messing up your name, I'm so sorry. Thank you for the galaxy though, I appreciate that. Idonoi? Thank you for the galaxy. What the helly? That's a huge gift. That literally scared the crap out of me. Thank you for the hand heart. What was I gonna say? I'm still trying to figure out where I need to go, guys. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. My brain is off and I'm just running around. But I was gonna say, oh, the reason I started content creation was because in like my childhood, you know, I didn't have the best childhood. Like, obviously, like, I mean, I had a good life, but I would say that, like, when there were dark times, you know, the one thing that I would go to was YouTube. And I would watch YouTubers like PewDiePie or Ice Cupquake, or I would watch, like, you know, like, just funny-ass YouTubers, like, and stuff like that. And they would help getting through the day and being excited about life. Like, they made it way better, and they made me realize that there is more to life, and there is something to look forward to, and it made me feel a little bit better. And so that's kind of like the reason I started it. Yeah, that's all that I kind of got into it for. That's why, like, I love, like, comedy content creators. But I'm still working on my comedic, like, timing, and I'm working on being more funny and stuff like that, but it takes a lot of time. Like, it's a skill to be funny. And I didn't realize that until, like, I started trying it myself. Like, not every joke lands. And then you're just like, oh, tough ground, you know what I mean? Hold on one sec. And yeah, so that's, like, kind of, like, what started it for me. And that's why I'm really glad that, like, I've been taking a break from all these insecure ass men, because now I can just focus on what actually makes me happy. And, you know, I feel like I thrive when I'm in, like, my single era, until I meet somebody who's, like, you know, better for me than maybe, but I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of like, I'm actually really happy. I feel like I thrive when I'm just chilling on my own, like, doing my own thing. And I feel like a lot of people think that, like, being in relationships is, like, gonna fix all your problems. Like, in the reality is, like, sometimes focusing on yourself is really what you need to do. And even in relationships, you should focus on yourself, too. And yeah. Thank you for the heart me. But yeah, that's my TED Talk. Hope you enjoyed. Trying to figure out what I need to do. I'm day ones. The real day ones are the ones from 2016. Those are the real day ones. I've been doing, you know what's crazy? I started my YouTube channel in 2016. And I neglected it for a while, but I would stream. I streamed since 2016. Really, Sloppy? I'm working on my storytelling skills because I want to be a podcaster. Oh my god, that's good. I'm trying to work on that because I want to be I want to tell stories about true crime in a podcast one day. That's like hopefully one of my endeavors in the future. I lose track when I yap. Me too sometimes, though, honestly. What was I gonna say? I forgot. This is a doctor? This guy's saying, I don't want to read it. I'm sorry. I'm too lazy to read it. In the game, I just can't read. Sometimes it's like Animal Crossing. I just want to skip through it. No offense. Sorry. No offense. It's probably really important for the story, too, but it's fine. What was I gonna say? Wait, what was I saying, guys? I forgot. Huh? Hit me. Oh, about my YouTube? Oh yeah, I've been here since 2016, and so I'm actually technically one of those, like, OG YouTubers. But I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing because I was 14. You know? And so technically I've been in the game, but I wasn't consistent with it when I was 14 because obviously I was in school. My bad. Let me try again. Hi, Jelly Soups. How's it going? Followage. You failed. What? I don't get what I have to do. We're playing Claire Obscure right now. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do there. That's weird. Guys, where the frick do I go? What the hell? But yeah, so... Yeah, I'm one of the OG YouTubers. Like, I don't even remember what I was saying, but... I was... You know, I started streaming on YouTube. And I started streaming on YouTube and to 0 viewers. It was like me and then my mom. It was me on my phone and then my mom when I first started streaming. And then, yeah. I was a Splatoon streamer and a Splatoon YouTuber. And I had this like wild dream that I wanted to be a YouTuber. And then as I was getting to know like the internet and entertainment and the media, I discovered, you know, Pokimane and Valkyrie rising to fame after like Fortnite stuff becoming very popular and having like a lot of clip potential. And I played Fortnite. So I was like, oh, I can do that. And so then that's how it started for me. But initially I went into content creation because I just wanted to be a YouTuber. So then I was a TikToker for a bit. I actually am a more successful TikToker than I am streamer, but yeah. But now I feel like things are changing for sure. I feel like I'm becoming a better streamer now and not as much of a good TikToker anymore. But I used to be a really good TikToker. I went really viral in 2019 because I was part of that like pandemic 2019 gold rush TikTok. I did the TikTok dances. I did the and the, you know what I mean? The renegade. The renegade and shit. That's what I did, and I was, you know, because I'm trying to fucking make it out here. The fuck? Fucking bills ain't fucking cheap nowadays, okay? I live in fucking California. And so I was like, you know, I was like trying to make it out there. And I participated in the cringy fucking TikTok trends, and it was a good time. I was pretty successful in it for a long time. But like everything good, it always has to come to an end. And everything good has to come to an end sometimes. And so it ended up like, you know, the fame from the TikTok hype ended up fizzling out because I stopped posting as much. I remember I used to post 3 times a day. And the crazy part was, in the beginning, I never got paid. I didn't get paid until about 2023. That's when I started seeing my first paychecks. And I finally joined the creator fund. And then that's when I got my first paycheck. And then in 2024, I did my first ever brand deals. And I'm still trying to figure out brand deals to this day, because they are very inconsistent. And yeah, there was even a moment in my career that I because I saw this random YouTuber. She okay, look, you're gonna judge me really hard right now, but like just hear me out for like 5 seconds, okay guys? So there's this girl, and she did a video where she created an OnlyFans, but she didn't post any nudes on it, okay? But she just did it as a social experiment to see how much money she made. And she was like, guys, I don't recommend doing this unless you plan to be a content creator for the rest of your life. And so my little pea-brain 18-year-old ass self was like, okay, I'm gonna make the account, but I'm not gonna post anything crazy on it, whatever. I made the account, and I made and this is, I don't mind sharing this with you guys because, you know, this is like character development, okay? This was for the plot. And so I did this, and I made 12K within the span of 2 months on OnlyFans. And then people kept commenting in my Instagram comments, and they were like, she's scamming. She's not even posting any nudes and shit. And they were in my comments, and they were like, she's not even posting nudes. She's a scammer. I took my bag, and I bought a PC. I started streaming. And then I deleted my OnlyFans account because I realized, oh, people think I'm actually a sex worker. Let me delete this. So I deleted it. And to some people, you know, I still am. Whatever. I consider it character development. I was 18 years old. You know, I didn't really know any better. Since then, I was like on and off different platforms for a little bit. But the most I would ever post was like just like cosplays that were like thirst traps, okay? Like and there were stuff that you probably would see on your Instagram. Okay, so it wasn't anything super crazy. I just want to put that out there. But I ended up like deactivating the accounts and not really considering it anymore. And what's crazy about it is like I've actually made like more money on TikTok than I've made on all of those fan sites. So I think it's like, if anything, I'm more of like a creator. But it's definitely a story that I tell chat because I think it's funny how like people kept thinking that I was like scamming because I didn't actually post anything crazy on there and it was just like a social experiment. The reality was I was actually a broke college student and I needed money for a PC and I just really wanted a PC bad and I didn't have one, so that's why. I don't recommend doing it though because obviously it can have detrimental reputational damage, especially if you make a mistake or you do something wrong, you know, not good. But thankfully, like, I never did anything against my morals, and I made sure to keep everything stuff that I would post on my Instagram. So like, if it were like thirst traps, it would just be like stuff that I'd post on Instagram, like, you know what I mean? Plus, like, I don't know, I mean, like, I'm just glad that, like, I ended up, like, snapping out of it and not actually doing it. Oh my god, you have to sub. Thank you. Wait, let me add time to the timer. I don't know if it's adding. I don't know if it added time, guys. Oh wait, what? I don't know if it added time. I'm scared. I can't tell if it added time or not. I don't know what's wrong with the timer, but I think it's broken. Anyway, so yeah. You might think I'm crazy, but thank you for the anonymous gift, by the way. Thank you for the anonymous for the gift. You might think I'm actually crazy, which... Okay, to be fair, guys, I went through severe childhood trauma. I developed, you know, very, very bad symptoms. And during this time, I didn't have any financial backing from my parents to chase any of my dreams or goals. And so I was tired of, like, being broke and, like, not being able to afford a PC and things like that. And so actually, like, I worked a normal job for a while. Like, I worked as a grocery clerk, and then I ended up saving, like, $50 a month. And so, like, I ended up saving, like, $1,000 to contribute towards my PC, but at that rate, I would have to have worked, like, 4 years at that job to be able to afford a PC while also paying for my car and my insurance and things like that. So I was like, I'm tired of being motherfucking broke. So... That's literally why I did it. But then I realized, like, it was kind of stupid and not all money is good money. And so I learned that the hard way. And obviously, like, because I have been associated with that platform, I won't be able to, like, work with certain brands or things like that because of it, you know? And so, like, in the long run, was it worth it? Yes, but no. Yes, in the way that I was able to buy, like, a PC and I was able to do a lot of things that people wouldn't be able to do because of that. But I also thought it was, like, funny, like, how, like, mad I made people around me, like, family, and people, like, would judge me, even though I didn't post anything super crazy. And I was just doing it as a social experiment. But then I have ended up, like, deactivating my account because I realized it was wrong. And... so I deleted it, and then I felt really good afterwards. Like, I was able to just I finally felt like I was actually doing content creation fully, and it wasn't about needing any platforms to be a crutch, you know? And I finally felt like I was able to, like, light that fire under my ass for the first time, and yeah. And it's definitely hard without financial backing. 100%. Like, I think that if I weren't to have done that, I wouldn't have been able to have, like, any sort of PC or anything like that. Like, which, honestly, like, yeah, being broke really sucks, I feel like. if you're broke, it's definitely, that's why it's incredibly hard to be one of the biggest streamers on the platform, because of how expensive, like, no one talks about how expensive it is to become a streamer. Like, my setup, all of peripherals included, my setup costs around like $6,000 to $7,000. But that's because, like, initially my first PC was like 1,500, and I thought 1,500 was a lot. But then I had to upgrade it, so then I got a, then my PC became 3,000, and then with peripherals and all the stuff, equipment that comes with it, like, so like mic, boom arm, you know, like the mic, multiple webcams, multiple monitors, mouse pad, standing desk, ergonomic chair, headsets, you know, multiple mouse, multiple keyboards, and then, yeah. But I think the most expensive thing about my entire setup is probably my GPU. My GPU is around like $9,000, or sorry, 9,000, what am I saying? $900. Oh my god, I had to say 9,000, not 9,000. Anyway, so yeah. So included in all that, and by the way, some of the stuff is gifts from like companies that wanted to give me stuff for free. So like, all of it comes out to like around $6,000 to $7,000. 6,000. But that's because I've been streaming for 5 years, so like, yeah. I honestly don't know what I spent that money on. But yeah, that's kind of like my story. 6,000. 6,000. And then, but honestly, I feel like, you know, a lot of people probably judge my journey and stuff. But honestly, I considered like making sites like that, like kind of like a money glitch. And so like, I just was completely careless at that age, especially because I was like 18, 19. So like, what do you think an 18, 19-year-old is thinking when like boys in her chat are like so attracted to her and telling her that she should start her OnlyFans? Like, I was like, okay, fine. And then I was like, bleh. And then, but I didn't actually post anything crazy and stuff. So like, in the end, it wasn't actually like detrimental to my career, because I ended up like getting this opportunity with FaZe Clan, and they were doing this like phase 1 top 20 competition, and I was able to sign up. And you guys know FaZe Clan, right? Like, they would never sign on like an actual OnlyFans girl. Like, okay, look, I know maybe to some people I am, because like I made an account, but in the actuality, I didn't actually do the acts, you know? I just like, I was just a scam artist for like 2 months, and then I deleted my account. And then and so this FaZe Clan opportunity came about, and at this point I wasn't like really involved. Like, I think I was on like a different platform at this time. I think I was on Fanhouse, and Fanhouse was safe for work, so which means all the stuff is not explicit. It's literally just safe for work content, right? So I was able to still like work with brands and still kind of have like a, it's like a Patreon like site, right? Like Patreon, some people on YouTube as creators, like in order to make multiple streams of income, you know, because obviously relying on just YouTube as your source of income can be extremely inconsistent and can lead to falling into severe debt because of how inconsistent, like streaming, and streaming too can be so inconsistent. Like 1 month you can make $400, and then the next month you can make 1,000, the next month you can make 2,000, then the next month you make 300, then the next month you make 3,000, and then the next month you make 200, and then the next, so it is very inconsistent. You can go into debt really fast doing streaming without multiple sources of revenue, okay? So if you don't create systems, okay, so some streamers and some content creators create a Patreon to create multiple revenue sources for like their Omega fans that want to be shouted out at the end of their YouTube videos or whatever it is, right? Or like create like, you know, and especially for like independent, you know, creators or independent artists, like some people will, like even indie devs for games, they will start a Patreon and give like early access to their patrons, whatever, right? And so that's literally what the sites that I was on moving forward past, you know, OnlyFans and all that, okay? And yeah, and it was good. And I ended up like really working on myself and learning what's right and what's wrong, and learning what's actually a good example on people and stuff like that. And as I've, been doing that, I've been just growing, I feel like, as a creator, and realizing that it's actually way better to make money like working hard on the things that you are passionate about, you know? And so that's what I learned. What the? Wait, guys, I think I'm stuck. How do I reset? Oh, I can break these? Oh! Oh my god. The entire time that's what it was. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I had a lot of time to work on myself moving past that, and I know that, like, I didn't, throughout my content creation career, I didn't always make the best decisions, but it's nice that I was able to kind of, like, learn as I go, right? And I feel like I have a really good story because things like OnlyFans, and, like, if I actually did post explicit things of myself, like, that would have probably ruined my life for the rest of my life, like. But at the same time, I mean, there's people like Kim Kardashian who go viral for their sex tape and then they become the next big thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, is it really that detrimental? But I mean, I do feel like it's not a good example on like young women and stuff like that. And so I ended up like learning that and realizing that it's not really healthy, and that's not the type of impact or influence that I want to have on women in today's society, because there are ways around sexualizing yourself, but it's all the power to you if you decide to, because I don't judge people who go that route. At the end of the day, like, some people are suffering from severe poverty, and sometimes going into that line of work is the only way. But if there is a way for you to do other things, then, and you have people around you that are gonna that do want to help you to achieve your goals, which I did. I had so many people around me that really loved me, and they like sat me down and they were like, you probably shouldn't be a part of this sort of thing, like, this is not good for you. And then I realized, like, dang, I have a lot of people that actually really do love me, and because my parents weren't always the best for me, I felt like I was completely unlovable, and I think that's why I made certain decisions in my childhood. But now that I'm getting older, I'm growing, and I'm developing and learning right from wrong, And so, yeah, I feel like every streamer has like their own story, and I feel like my story makes me really unique. Because I feel like no one really goes that path or is willing to be like, bet, let me just, fuck it, let me do this. But I realized, like, I didn't have the actual balls to actually go out and start spreading it wide on the timeline. Like, I just didn't have the balls to do it. If I actually was about doing that, I would have just gone full out and just would have done it. But I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't even like that type of, like, I didn't even like catering towards men anyways.
Let him cook.
Because I actually didn't really like men a lot growing up. So, it actually was, like, I'm just glad that I've gone a different path. Because honestly, like, things could have really gotten really bad if I would have. But anyway, thankfully, there was this fun phase opportunity, right? And it was like one of those like phase 5 competition shows. So you go on and they recruit someone for their phase clan, basically their big group, right? And so basically I had a chance to be a part of phase at one point in my career. And I literally shaved my hair bald. And so I always talk about this, like, if I were to have actually posted nudes on my OnlyFans, I wouldn't have been able to have been a part of this opportunity, because when I tell you guys, FaZe Clan did a full thorough background check on us. Like, they even said if you have nudes out there, to send it to them. Like, not in a weird way, but like to see if they can Google search it to see if it's out there on the internet. And at the time I didn't. And so I was completely clean and nothing. And so there were some people who had sent pictures between their intimate partners that they had to send over to FaZe Clan to Google search to see if it, you know, because basically if you went on this show, I think the reasoning behind why they do that is so that way they can see if that stuff is out there and to make sure that you are who you say you are, and like basically fact check to see if you're actually a streamer and you're not, you know, doing crazy ass shit. And so basically I was in the clear, and I wouldn't have been on that show if it weren't, if I was actually. So I tried to reassure people, but obviously, like, when people hear my story, they're like, oh my god. And then I'm like, no, it's not what it seems. It's not what it seems, you know? And then, you know, the face thing definitely is a perfect example of like how I'm not, but obviously, like, you can only take my word for it at this point because people think I'm an OFworker no matter what I do. Like, I even think my sisters told me that my dad thought that I was like a cam girl. My dad thought I was a literal cam girl. All I do is sit here and fucking play video fucking games. I'm not a cam girl, guys. But I just thought that was crazy. Like, even my dad didn't even understand what Twitch was in the beginning of my career. He thought I was a cam girl. But no, I just play video games, like, necessarily it, but yeah. That's kind of like that's my story of my life, you know? But yeah, I think it's kind of funny, like, I went on the FaZe show and it was really, really freaking cool. I loved it. And being able to be, like, recruited with FaZe made me feel like, for the first time, like, it felt really validating. It's kind of like when, if you're a content creator, you work really hard to make content and you want to get recognized, you know, and build, like, a fan base and build supporters, you know, so you can live out your dreams of being, like, whatever it is. You want to be an influencer, you want to be a, you know, a star, or whatever it is. And so, like, it was extremely validating when I was on that show because it made me feel like, dang, like, it just made me feel like I could really believe in myself, and, like, I had a whole ass org believing in me and seeing my work and people behind it that were believing in my vision and just validating that. Because for years I had like, a lot of people in my life always, like, doubting me and my content creation stuff. And people still to this day doubting me and doubting, like, my vision and things around the way that I brand myself, which, to that I say, just watch. You know, just let it all play out, because at the end of the day, I know that I know that I'm capable. I know what I'm capable of, and I fully 100% believe in myself, and I don't need anyone in my life to believe in me. But when I did have FaZe Clan, they're, like, seriously giving me a shot at, like, winning a life-changing amount of money and, like, being able to have sponsorship opportunities that would have changed the trajectory of, like, my career forever. Like, I will always appreciate and be grateful for that moment that they believed in me, because if it weren't for that, I feel like I would have given up on myself. And it's really important to have people around you that believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. Even when you have, like, people around you that don't believe in you, like, at the end of the day, you should still believe in yourself. But I feel like when it comes to content creation, no one really talks about the times where things aren't really going your way and you feel as though, like, you're, like, what is it all for? And sometimes you'll come from streams and you'll feel, what am I doing this for? Like, am I really growing? Or, you know, things like that. And you feel, and it's called the depths of despair, the valley of despair. And every content creator, or anybody who's pursuing anything, like, bigger than themselves is going to feel and experience the valley of despair. And the valley of despair can be, like, a combination of things. It can be your income isn't showing, you know, you're not making a sustainable amount of income to pursue content creation, or you're not getting enough views, you're not getting enough fans, whatever it is, like, you're not getting enough support. And it's called the valley of despair. It's like the hard part when you're falling off completely of the, you know, and a lot of people at that point completely give up that's where a lot of streamers give up. And that's where a lot of YouTubers give up. And that's why they never end up seeing their full potential, because they end up giving up. But a really important quote like that stuck with me throughout my content creation career was Will Smith. He's like a really successful actor. And he talked about falling forward or failing forward. And I remember that's always stuck with me throughout content creation. Because it makes me think about how like failing forward is a good way to learn from your mistakes and just keep going even if things aren't always going your way. If you have the mentality that you need to be perfect at something the first time or in the beginning, and when you're still trying to figure things out, then that is not a healthy mindset. And I feel like even when you're at the top, to always remain humble and to always remain grounded, because at the end of the day, you are still learning, and that's okay. Instead of saying, I can't do this, instead be like, I'm still learning how to do this, and it's okay if I fail because I'm still learning. So even in games too, when you're trying to learn how to play a game really well, I feel like a lot of people need to give themselves more grace and need to be like, it's okay if I fail, you know? I'm still learning. Instead of, oh, I suck at this game. Because you're saying, oh, I suck at this game. Okay, that's a definitive thing about you. Instead, you should say something like, okay, I suck right now. Like, I'm learning right now, but I'll get better. You know? And in a way, you know, it's definitely something, you know, I'm still growing even now. Like I'm still trying to figure shit out. But I do feel like a lot of me persevering has been paying off, and we've been getting like an insane amount of support. And just like at the end of the day, for me, it's not even about money. Like for me, it's about, I'm just glad that I'm pushing myself to keep learning, because even with my YouTube channel, there was a few times where I was like, oh, I'm such a perfectionist. Like I was getting in my own way of like pursuing YouTube. And I was just like, oh, like I'm not getting enough views. Like, and I would private my videos because I would get embarrassed about how many views they would get. And now I'm at a point where it's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm worried about the next one. I'm worried about making the next one good. And who cares if the views don't work out? I'm just gonna look at it as a moment to learn. And look, okay, this didn't work. Okay, let's see what I did in this particular video that the reason why it got lower views. Okay, maybe the first 10 seconds wasn't engaging enough. Okay, let's make a better hook for the next one. Or, ooh, I saw this one video and it made me feel really inspired. Let me recreate it, but put my own little organic twist to it, because at the end of the day, you want to make original material, you know? And, so like things like that. It's literally all it is. It's literally just mindset, chat. That's literally all it is. I followed from YouTube. Oh, thank you. Hello, Aerodynamic. And that's literally all it is just mindset. And I realized in life, all it is just mindset. It's literally all it is. Anything that you want in life is literally just a mindset. If you let things like viewers and numbers and money and things like that define you, then you are not. I'm sorry, but you're not cut out for it. Like, and there are a few times where I used to let it get to my head, and even now, like, sometimes instead of engaging with the community, like, I continuously care and check my view account and things like that. But then I realized, like, I should just focus on the present moment, focus on engaging. How you liking this game? Pretty good so far, but I get lost. Like, right now I'm trying to figure out where I need to go. I have no clue where I need to go. But we're kind of just yapping right now. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of like how I've been feeling as of late. And I feel like because I've been healing, getting back into therapy and stuff, I've been able to like have a better mentality, and just because I get so drained from like I'm not gonna lie, like I'll go to like certain events and I'll make friends with guys, but like I know that some of these guys don't actually want to be my friends. So like I know that like talking to them and like making it seem like we can be good friends drains my energy. So like I've been like not being a people pleaser anymore and not replying because I feel bad. Like I've just been not replying because I don't want to and I don't care. Like and honestly, I love that for me because like my people pleaser ways used to be like, oh, I need to reply to this person. Like I feel bad. What if they get sad that I don't respond? It's like, nah, I don't give a fuck. And honestly, I love that. I love how I'm changing for the better because you may think that that's stupid, that it's bad to ignore people, but like I call it protecting my peace. You know, you call it me ignoring you. I call it protecting my peace. Because some of these people, energy vampires, they just want to take. And they can tell when, you know, you are a very valuable individual, you know, and they will try to take advantage of that. And I don't like that. And so I hate it. And so I don't engage anymore. Like, I just protect my peace. And that's all that I've been doing is just protecting my peace and putting myself first, you know? And I feel like sometimes when you do that, like, it just shows in the way that you treat others. When you start taking care of yourself, you start, you know, teaching other people how to treat you, as well as, like, you inspire other people to start taking better care of themselves. And that leaves, like, a long-lasting positive impact on them. That makes them think of you as somebody who will always be like a positive energy in their life. And that's kind of like what being an influencer is all about. Like I had this one friend ask me, she really wants to be an influencer stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'll tell you what you need to do. You just need to be the literal ultimate best version of yourself. And it's okay if you're not perfect, but always keep trying. And if you want to showcase those vulnerable parts of you that's not perfect, then that's relatable. And a lot of people connect to that, you know, dealing with picking the wrong partner. A lot of people connect with that. But showing your progress, you know, you can't be an influencer if you're, I mean, you can, but you can't. Like, you know, not everything is black and white. Like, there's not a nuance. There's still influencers out there who are dating and marrying horrible people. But I will say, I feel like in order to be like a positive influencer, you have to, that even comes down to like your choices and who the partner that you pick. Like I had this friend tell me, you can't be a mental health advocate if you're literally dating a man that ruins your mental health. I was like, she called me out on my bullshit. I'm not gonna lie, chat. She called me out on my bullshit, and I really appreciated that because she was right. I can't be with a piece of shit man who's treating me like the fucking scum on the bottom of his shoe. If I want to be a positive influencer that actually makes people feel good and like makes them happy, you know? It makes them feel like I should take better care of myself, you know? So that really stuck with me and that like haunted me for a really long time because I still was with this piece of shit. And then, nah, I'm just kidding, but like, yeah, no. And it made me realize like relationships, it's not always the guy is just this evil person and he's treating you like shit. Like, I realized from that situation and that interaction with her that it was the fact that I was self-abandoning in this relationship and I didn't just leave this guy for my own sake. That's what was going, I was the toxic one because I wasn't leaving the situation that I know was not serving me and that wasn't making me deep down happy. And because I stayed in that, like, I was self-abandoning. And that's an example of, like, sometimes relationships aren't about, oh, that person's evil, my ex is evil, and they're a bitch, and it's about, why did I tolerate that, you know? I should learn how to pick someone who actually loves me, you know, better, you know, and I'm gonna find something else that's gonna make me feel better, you know? And also reflecting the flaws that you had throughout the relationship. Like, I was able to reflect that I am very critical of others. And that's a negative characteristic that I have, because it's not okay to be like so critical of others. Like, even though like the reason it's because I'm critical towards myself. Like, but the reason I'm so self-critical is because I know my potential. I know what I'm capable of and what I can achieve, and I feel like because of that, I forgot what I was gonna say, but anyway, I was saying how, because like I know my worth and I know how I'm capable of like achieving things, it makes me like go about the world like always critical of others, because I know what they can do to fix their life or like make their life better. And I want to tell them, but it's not because I want to make them feel bad for the state that they're in now. It's more so because like I see what they can do in their life that's better for them, and what's going to be what's going to be the best for them. And I'll say it, not because like I want to hurt them and like bruise their ego, but more so because like I just want to look out for them, and I know it comes off as like judgmental and things like that, but more so it's about like pushing them to be the best version of themselves, and that's kind of like why I'm so self-critical. But I also think that sometimes if it's too much, it's too much at the end of the day, and that's something that I can fix and correct. Because also like giving yourself grace to make mistakes is also really important, because you're not perfect and you're human, and it's okay to make mistakes throughout your life, But I think sometimes my criticalness can come off as like judgment or things like that. But in reality, it's just criticism, right? Or like it's like constructive criticism, and also like there are times where I'm a little bit like harsh and critical. That's something I learned about my relationship where I went wrong. And also just expecting him to change, I think, was wrong with me, because I should have just went with a man that was already somebody that I wanted. Not somebody who had to change for me. And I feel like it's a bit unfair to force someone to change. But at the same time, like, if the man was right for you, they would want to do anything to like better themselves, so that way that the relationship continues. But yeah, I realized like I was fighting a lot, and some people just will only change for themselves. That's a really important thing to remember, is people will only change for themselves. So like if you meet a guy who smokes weed, he's not gonna stop smoking weed for you. Like, let's be real. He's not gonna stop smoking for you, because he's already made the conscious decision to just keep smoking. That's his life. He's gonna choose what he wants to do with his life. So don't try to force people to change, and just meet people who actually align with you. You'll get to know, and you'll see as you get to know people and become like friends with them, who's like a better fit for you and stuff like that. Okay, anyway. I'm getting tired, chat. I think I'm gonna get off. I can't figure this out. Like, I'm not locked in right now. I'm really tired. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get off. Did you wanted him to better? Did you wanted to better him? Yeah, I just wanted to like help him work on himself. But I think that some people who, if they're not already working on themselves, like, you just leave them alone, because at that point they don't really care about working on themselves if they're not doing it by themselves for themselves. You just leave them alone. They're not somebody who can take constructive criticism or like accountability, and I feel like accountability is really important. Like, I'm a very messy person. Like, I tend to keep my space a little bit messy from time to time. Like, my brain's all over the place, and so is my room. And so I gave him like a really good analogy. I was like, if you came to me and you were like, Jess, I think your apartment is a fucking hot mess. We should clean it together, like. And I think you should really work on that. Like, you deserve to live in a clean home, You should just really care more about keeping your space clean, stuff like that. I would probably respond to it being like, oh, okay, like you're right. I do deserve a clean space. Like I'm gonna start doing better about it, you know, and cleaning more, like, and that's something that like I deserve. Like I deserve a clean place, you know. And I was like giving him an example of like you can come to me and say that like it's good to be I like hold myself accountable. Like I am a little bit messy, you know. I should be more responsible about being cleaner and like just keeping more like stuff like that because like that's an important adult skill and it's an unattractive trait to be like extremely messy and stuff like that. That devil's lettuce is a no-no. Yeah, and like that's why like sometimes if like it's a really big like deal breaker for you, then you should just be with someone who doesn't do that stuff. Vice versa, you know? Okay, guys, I'm getting tired. I really wanted to play a Claire Obscure, but the thing also, but there are also special circumstances where like if a man loves a woman enough and like sees her value and really, really wants to be with her, like badly enough, there are some women who will like take care of themselves, like or men who will change. Like for example, this woman, she was dating like an alcoholic and she decided to leave him because she couldn't see herself like marrying a man who would lose himself to alcohol. And this guy really valued this woman so much so that not only did he go to rehab and completely get free of alcohol, but he built a beautiful family for him and his wife. And I think that's the difference between like men who hold themselves accountable versus men who don't is men who see what they're doing with their actions that harms others and decides to consciously do something about it to fix the problem and like problem solve skills and stuff like that. It's like a really big thing. Like if you can't do that as a man, like you can't take accountability and stuff like that and actually show results and progress and things like that. You don't have to be perfect. It's just about like being able to just hold yourself accountable is really important. And at the same time, the girls be playing, yeah, and some girls, that's what I mean by like you this is not just a man thing. Like this is women can be the same way. Like if a woman's really, you know, let's say she has something negative about her characteristics or whatever. I don't talk about the details. I'm just kind of giving like a general. We're just kind of talking about the general stuff. But anyway, chat. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the subathon timer. We're at 51 minutes. I don't know why it got so low. Probably because like we're streaming again today. But honestly, today was so low energy, so I'm thinking about adding time to the timer. You guys think we should add time from the TikTok subathon timer? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. Oh my god! Thank you, Hyro, for the roses! I don't know, chat. Maybe we'll do like 5 hours minimum each daily stream. Not sure how we're gonna run this subathon. What do you guys think we should do? Or if you guys want to keep the timer running, make sure to tune in as soon as I go live tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll probably be live. Okay, so tomorrow I will be busy. Like I have to leave tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Or no, 7 p.m. I have to go pick up my mom and then I'm gonna take her to the airport and then I'm gonna drive back home. And I'll probably be able to stream at like 9 p.m. In the meantime, I'm gonna work on some YouTube videos and get some rest because I'm really tired and I need a shower because I just danced my heart away. Do you guys want to see the new dance I learned? Wait, should we have a dance party before I end? Wait, dance party? Dance party? Who's your bias? I'm your bias. Dance party. Okay, ready? Okay, dance party. Thank you, lovely, for the 30 jewels. Thank you. I don't know how to add time to the timer, guys. I think the timer's broken. Hold on. Let me reset it. Okay, I'm just gonna add time from the TikTok timer. Because technically, guys, we have about 2,000 hours on the TikTok timer for the subathon because technically TikTok timer also counts. But if you want to raise the Twitch timer, you can also add subs too. So technically we gotta stream for months straight, which we have been doing. But I'm starting to create the Twitch timer too on the top right, so that way we can encourage more support on Twitch as well, because I feel like we haven't done a subathon in like 6 months. We've only been doing the TikTok subathon, so we're finally gonna do Twitch subathon. So yeah. And subathon basically is like you can add time to the timer and stuff. That's about it. And you can add bits to add time. Oh, where's my subathon? Hold on, add com. Donations and bits. Oh my god, I spelled buy wrong because I'm so freaking tired. I spelled it buy. Add time to the timer. Okay, wait, you can add time to the timer by B-U-Y. Are you gonna see Aspa or Le Seraphim on tour? I've already seen Aspa. By gifting subs, prime, subbing, donations, and bits. I do want to see Aspa though, but I don't really go to concerts too often. I think the next concert I want to go to is BTS. We're gonna do a dance party before bed, okay, guys? Ready? I want to show you the new dance that I learned, okay? Ready? Um, I had a really good choreographer today. It was so freaking fun, guys. I had so much fun. Okay, that means I have to end the YouTube stream, but thank you, YouTube, for having me. Make sure to go follow me on my other socials and join the Discord, okay, YouTube?